starting lineup for your Ashland Arrows. Leading off, the designated hitter number 11, Jeff Hickey. Stop number 40, Ethan Hay. Merrill.
And a very pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network, presented by Sarver Paving. We welcome you to live coverage of Arrows baseball. Non-conference action this afternoon here at Bud Plank Field as the Galion Tigers come into play. The Ashland Arrows. Galion is 14-8. They are out of the Mid-Ohio Athletic Conference. They are second in the MOAC at the moment. Ashland is 8-9 overall, 5-8 in the OCC. It's one final tune-up game before tournament time for the Arrows. Right now, we'll pause for the playing of our national anthem, brought to you by Chandler Systems, Inc. Our national anthem presented by Chandler Systems, Inc., locally owned and operated right here in Ashland for over 40 years. Today's game also brought to you by our friends at Headstrom Entertainment, having unplugged fun for over 100 years, and this is a very abbreviated countdown to first pitch, brought to you by Simonson Construction Services, serving Ashland and North Central Ohio for over 50 years. Stranger has appeared to my right. It's Chris Mallory, my partner. Welcome back. The band is back together. We've got BG here at the controls, and a beautiful day for baseball, Chris.
Yeah, good to be back with you. I've been all over the place and supposed to do some games. One with Steve Paramore, one with Zach Truax, one with my son Camden, and Mother Nature has won all spring long, David, and thankful for you and BG being able to, play musical chairs with the schedule and be able to be here to broadcast these baseball games, and I'm glad to be back with you boys today.
Well, it is a beautiful day. We're coming to you live and free all season long from the Priest Dental broadcast booth. Your hometown dental leader, proud AHS alum Kevin Priest and his team will handle all of your dental needs. On the hill is Carter Nelson. Nelson, the sophomore, no record, just his third appearance on the mound, his second start. Limited action, 6 innings, 7 earned runs, 10 walks and 4 strikeouts. He'll be facing a Galion lineup, which we'll give you as we move along here. But Chris, the Arrows came off a big win on Wednesday as they walked off West Holmes 10-9. A very entertaining ball game, one haymaker after another, and the Arrows came out on the winning side.
Well, the Arrows have been in the haymaker business this year, not just delivering them, but having them deliver to them. You know, that Worcester game that you guys did, that was wild, to say the least. You give up 7, or you get 7, then you give up 8, and you come back and put the winning run at first base in the bottom of the 9th, and And this wasn't the only time. I think it was Dover that they had another slugfest, and yesterday against West Holmes, as you mentioned. So, the one thing that we talked about early in the campaign was going to be the defense. And I think that's one thing that you've seen as you've watched these contests throughout the season. You've seen the air bug bite the arrows. And when that happens, it's really difficult. You've got to hit your way out of that. It doesn't matter what team you're given 4 or 5 outs to an inning. That's going to come back to bite you. And you combine that with some walks and some HBPs, and it makes it really, really difficult. We'll be looking for the Arrows to play good, clean game defensively and limit the walks on the mound.
Yeah, that'll certainly be a couple of keys to the game, which we'll get to as we get the game underway. We're going to be starting a little bit early today. I think we'll all vote for that.
Yep.
Our upcoming first pitch brought to you by Bo Lacey Construction, handling your roofing, siding, decking, bath remodel, and window replacement needs. Experience you can trust, done right, on time. That is Bo Lacey Construction. Kane Hay stands in for Galion. First pitch is over for a strike, and away we go, getting this one started at 4:53 Eastern Time. And again, we have 68 beautiful and sunny degrees. Wind is blowing out again, this time more to left center. Wednesday night it was howling out to right the entire evening. Called strike 2 to Kane Hay, hitting .404, no home runs, 6 runs batted in, 11 steals. One of the Hay twins, his twin brother Kurt, will hit third. 0-2 from Carter Nelson, the sophomore right-hander. It's a little bit low.
We'll see if the Arrows, when they're up at bat here, can get it through the Hay hole over there, David. That'd be the 56 hole.
Yeah, they've got the left side of the infield, a family affair. Kane Hay, the shortstop, leading things off. Will be followed by Emery Main, the Galion catcher. This one socked toward left center. That'll drop for a hit. That's going to scoot through the gap. Let's see if Hay goes for 2. He will, and he'll coast in with a double to lead off the ball game. 2-base hit. Runner in scoring position for the Tigers. That'll bring Emery Main to the plate.
Terrific job by Hay right there at the plate. He's down with 2 strikes. He looked at a fastball, on the outside corner. He looked at a spinner pitch on the outside part of the plate. And then he got another spinner pitch that just hung there. And he stayed back. The weight was back the entire time. Kept his hands back, most importantly, and was able to deliver that baseball. Unfortunately for the Arrows, they're heading the count big time there, and they give up the leadoff double.
First base open for Emery Main. He's the leading hitter on the Tigers and in the MOAC. That one spikes to the plate, goes all the way back to the screen, and the wild pitch will move Kane Hay over to third base. 1 ball and no strikes. After Main, it'll be Kurt Hay, the third baseman, Ben Albert at first, Trey Langwell at second. He'll hit fifth, and Trey Fricky in left. Lower third of Jackson Henry, the starting pitcher, Braden Harvey, the DH, and Landon Prosser in center field. They'll try and squeeze in a run, and they will do so. Nelson picks up the bunt on the safety squeeze. Hay scores. Maine picks up his 14th RBI of the season, and it's 1-0 Tigers.
Absolutely perfection. You get a 1-2 count double to lead off the ball game, and then you get a couple pitches you look at, and then you push it up the right side. You bunt. You get yourself over the plate, the bat in front of the plate, and you do your job. The runner at third base, once he sees it down, he's coming the entire time. Good job there by the Galion Tigers executing small ball.
Sacrifice bunt. Executed perfectly. Here's Kurt Hay, bases empty, and just like his twin brother, he's going to put one in the exact same spot. Now, I think he'll settle for 1 as Jackson Kenny gets that one back in, but a single. And the Hay brothers are 2 for 2. Our starting lineups brought to you by Bill Harris Dealerships with locations in Ashland and Loudonville. From Chevys to Fords to Dodges to Jeeps and quality pre-owned vehicles, Bill Harris Dealerships is your one-stop shop. 1 out, 1 on, 1-0. Ben Albert at the plate, a .308 batter, 1 home run, 13 runs batted in, a junior. This Galion team played Lexington last night at home and lost 9-4. They've lost 2 straight. That's a strike outside corner. Our home plate umpire is Jeff Burton. And his partner on the bases is Bill Rosenbaum. He'll make the impartial calls in this non-conference battle.
Albert's a nice-looking stick there. Look at him, Dave. Really put together there. Hits out of the left side. It's a pretty common name over that side of Richland County. Albert, Shelby, also bunches of Alberts. Good baseball playing family. Or if you're of my age, softball.
Well, he's certainly a talented player. He does have the club's only homer. Trey Langwell is on deck. We're in the top of the first inning. Runner takes off from first, swing and a miss. Throw down from Wolf is on the left field side of second, and Hay is in at first base. Second base on a steal. That's his 12th of the year.
Next for Galion, number 1, Trey Langwell.
That was a strikeout. I didn't
Sure
realize
was.
he'd ring him up on that. That's the first strikeout for Nelson. Good news there. 2 gone.
Swinging strikeout.
Here's Trey Langwell hitting .268. No home runs. 11 runs batted in. So Nelson will turn his attention, try to get the third out, and strand a runner at second. There's a called strike. Galion is a D4 opponent in the upcoming tournament. They will be taking on Elida in their first round tournament game on Wednesday. Of course, the Arrows will be taking on Salina here at home. That will be Thursday of next week in D3. Ball a strike from Carter Nelson. Langwell batting. One curveball lifted in the air, trouble, very shallow, and that is going to be just out of the reach of a diving Ethan Haig, who tried to make a sensational catch out in shallow left. It drops in for a hit. That scores Kurt Hay from second, and Galion takes a 2-0 lead here in the top of the first.
Tremendous effort by Ethan Haig, the sophomore shortstop for the Arrows. He's full extension, full gas on, and he's diving backwards trying to catch that baseball. That is undoubtedly the toughest defensive effort you're going to find with your back to the home plate area, to the infield running, trying to catch it over your shoulder, and you dive backwards. It's a heck of an effort there. You almost come up with a 2, David. Really nice job there by the sophomore.
Yeah, I really thought he had a shot at it. Trey Fricky at the plate, swings and misses the first pitch from Nelson. It's 0-1. Well, there have been 3 hits in the inning, a sac squeeze bunt. Strike 2 now. Fricky down, 2 strikes. Jackson Henry, the pitcher, on deck. Arrows spotted West Holmes 2 runs in the top of the first inning on Wednesday night. Here's a shot into center. That's a hit. Longwell will stop at second base. Fricky aboard as he swats one into center field.
Well, you notice what's happening here, David. All these base hits now, that's 4 base hits here in the top of the first inning for the Tigers, a double and 3 singles. They're all hit on the screws, except the one little pop-up that Haig was going after. But you've got a double in left center gap, you got a single in left center gap, and then you had that bullet 1 hopper past Haig there, shortstop. So they are seeing the baseball out of Nelson's hands good, and they are putting the meat of the barrel on it and hitting it hard right now where the Arrows aren't.
And sometimes from behind in the count as well. He has gotten ahead of some hitters.
As we've seen.
1 ball, no strikes here to Jackson Henry, a .333 batter with 5 RBIs. First and second, 2 outs. Late swing and a foul off to the net. 1-1.
I don't think the geometry allows for that ball to travel any deeper than it did to get a piece of it.
1-1 with 2 gone. Nelson trying to get settled into the ball game here. 2-0 Galion early. Big curveball did not break too much. High, 2-1.
Park looks nice today, David.
Oh man, it is a beautiful day, bright and sunny. Nice breeze. This one shot toward right. That's going to drop for a base hit. Longwell around third. Throw coming in. It will be cut off. 3-0 Tigers as Jackson Henry helps his own cause by cracking an extra or an opposite field single. Braden Harvey will step to the plate. Runners on the corners as Fricky motored around to third base.
Still just 1 out here for the Arrows. Corners are up. They're going to have to hold him at first base with Summers. That'll be a free bag. Middle infield slightly up, but more double play, I think, is what they're probably thinking here. If they can get a twin kill and get out of the inning, it'd be best case scenario here.
Well, fortunately, there are 2 outs, Chris.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep. At the strikeout of Albert on that steal earlier. Braden Harvey, the DH, he's a freshman, batting .212, 6 RBIs.
Knocking the rust off, Dave.
Yeah, I'm right with you. 1-0. Fastball, letter high, and therefore a strike. Braden Harvey, another left-handed batter. That one way outside. Nice stab by Wolf. Chris, I was just looking at Harvey there with the hair flowing out the back of his helmet. Is that how you wore it at Hillsdale back in the day?
That's how John Kruk wore it.
Yeah.
Not me. I was more of a high and tight kind of
All
cat.
right.
I did not prefer to have more lettuce than I needed, David.
That's a strike outside corner. Nice pitch from Nelson. Harvey is the 8th man to bat here in the first. Good start by the visiting Tigers. We have 3 on the board. Fricky at third. Jackson Henry over at first. Nelson pitching. Tried to reach back for a little something extra there. Outside, 3-2. Guy takes off from second, or from first. Jackson Henry is safe at second with a steal.
See, that's the things, you know, guy at first base has got a 27-foot lead there. We don't look at him. I know there's a runner at third base, but he's basically giving himself up to see if he can get the runner in here. We end up walking him. We had a third out there. You know, step off the mound and look at him. You don't have to do anything. You can step off the mound. The guy's live. You know, and if the runner at third base decides to get happy feet thinking he's Ricky Henderson, well, you can come to the plate and get him in a pickle or throw him out or whatever. That's a mental error there by the Arrows that, you know, now they've got the bases juiced. Still 2 outs, 9-hole hitter Prosser up at the plate.
He's not bad. 286, 8 RBIs, and he takes the pitch high, ball 1. He is the 9th batter of the inning. Bases are loaded. Fricky, Henry, and Harvey. Galion 14 and 8.
Prosser's got some artwork there.
He sure does. 1-0. That one's hit right up the chute behind the plate. Wolf gives it a look, but it's on top of the press box and evens the count up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the order on deck. Kane Hay, he had a double to lead off this inning.
Well, the Bill Harris dealership's press box, we're coming to you live from the Priest Dental broadcast booth. I can promise you that did not hurt the ceiling or the roof, however you want to look at it. This is built by Simonson Construction Services, so we are in good shape here with that foul ball landed on the roof.
There's a tapper towards Stewart. He spears it on a big hop, had a little trouble getting it out of his glove, but he throws him out, and that does it for the Tigers here in the first inning. 9 batters to the plate. They scored 3, and we go to the bottom half of the first inning. It's Galion 3 and the Ashland Arrows coming to bat.
Ashland isn't just where we work. It's our home. From glorious country to Main Street parades, we're proud to be part of what makes this town special. At Bill Harris Dealerships, being a key member of the community is one of our core values. But it's more than that. It's a responsibility. Because without Ashland, without you, we wouldn't be here. So stay golden, Ashland. Bill Harris Dealerships, the name you know and trust.
Need a construction team that can do it all? Bo Lacey Construction delivers experience you can trust, done right on time, with free estimates and special financing offered for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, bathrooms, decks, to the highest standards of excellence, quality, and knowledge in the industry. Bring your next project to life with Bo Lacey Construction.
Well, Galion scores 3 runs on 5 hits and left the bases loaded. So we'll see how that might affect things coming down the stretch later in this game. Not being able to cash in on that 2-out threat. Here come the Arrows now. Jeff Hickey will lead things off against Jackson Henry. Henry, the junior, right-hander, no record. This is his 4th appearance, his first start. 4 innings of work, so limited action on the mound, but 6 earned runs, 5 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Arrows will line up like this: Jeff Hickey at DH, then Ethan Haig at short, Tanner Wolf catching, Noah Merrill in right, Brayton Stewart at third, Trenton Summers will play first base and bat 6th, Jackson Kinney in left, Nick Mangus in center field, Jake Bryant rounding out the lineup and playing second base. Those are your Bill Harris dealerships lineups for the ball game. Jeff Hickey will lead things off, and the Arrows have some catch-up to do, Chris.
Yeah, they do. You know, the Arrows got behind, and you highlighted a really important point we'll have to pay attention to as the game progresses here. Arrows give up 3. They give up bullet base hits. You know, they weren't giving up just little seeing eye singles. They were giving up bullets. And good job by the Arrows leaving the bases loaded. Tigers, we'll see if it comes back to bite him, as you highlighted here. But for the Arrows to get out of that, nice play by Stewart at third base, coming across the diamond, cutting it off in front of Hag. It was really the only play the Arrows had to get it out and deliver a nice strike over there to Summers at first base to retire the Galion Tigers on top of the first.
Well, there's Jeff Hickey batting 3 for 9 in limited action as he has returned to the lineup, and he grounds one up the middle. That's right over the second base bag and into center field for a base hit. Good start.
He's a good baseball player right there, and an even better football player, I'd say, throughout his junior year right now. He's a tremendous athlete here for the black and orange, and plays a really, really good defensive back, and I think he's going to find himself on the offensive side here his senior year. But, you know, what he do, he kept his head back, kept his hands back, kept his bat up, and watches it all the way in and absolutely tattoos that one back up the middle of the diamond. So nice job by Jeff Hickey, and glad to see him back in the lineup.
Here's Ethan Haig, the sophomore shortstop, batting .413 with 16 RBIs.
I'll tell you this, David. Sophomores usually don't get recognized very often in all conference selections. If this kid isn't a first-team selection here in the OCC this year, I think they should just do that away with the whole conference awards and not let it become a popularity contest, which I think is complete nonsense. This kid has played as good as anybody at his position in the entire conference all season long, period. Mic drop.
They had a couple of RBIs on Wednesday night, including the game-winning fielder's choice. He tries to bunt for a hit here. The ball picked up by Henry, and he throws him out at first. Albert stayed home to take the throw, so a sac bunt for Ethan Haig. That moves Hickey up to second base.
Why was I so demonstrative on that? 413 out of the 2-hole in the leadoff position.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that's more impressive. 413 is amazing. I don't care what level of baseball it is. The kid's getting on base at a 533 clip, David. That is absolutely phenomenal, especially hitting at the top of the lineup on a team that isn't really exactly knocking the ball out of the ballpark, too, so they have to pitch around guys. They know what he's hitting. They're throwing, and they're coming after him with the best that the pitcher has. So, you know, hat tip to Ethan Haig. He looks like the Arrows have found their shortstop for the next 3 years.
Hickey is at second base, first base open. Tanner Wolf at the plate, batting .241 with 10 runs batted in on the season. Wolf had a big triple in the game on Wednesday night, an RBI 3-bagger in the first inning. He was 1 for 4. Down 2 strikes here to Jackson Henry. Bottom of the first, 3-0 Galion. Hickey off second after his leadoff single. This one grounded to second. Longwell waits and cannot make the play. Bounces away from him. Hickey rounds third. He's heading to the plate, and he slides in safe. So Tanner Wolf with the routine grounder. It was misplayed by Longwell, and Hickey just kept right on running as it bounced away from the second baseman.
Yeah, fantastic. You never know what's going to happen, and that's why you go 100%. You know, it's high school baseball. Kids are going to kick them, and they're going to take bad hops. You're not exactly playing on a progressive field here, you know, anywhere, you know, in northern Ohio or central Ohio, whatever. So, you know, your job, you put the ball in play. You got to go as hard as you can down the line, and good job by the Arrows on both sides there. Wolf at first base, and then Hickey obviously going to go to third and move up from second to third on a ground ball to the right side, but then rounds third base, looks back into the field of play, finds the ball is kicked away, and then scores. Good job.
That brings Noah Merrill to the plate, takes a strike. Wolf takes off, and that one is fouled away. So, again, 0-2. Brayton Stewart is on deck. Merrill batting. He's hitting .255, 10 RBIs. Had a huge hit on Wednesday night to lead off the 7th inning. Then stole second, advanced to third on a ground ball, and scored the winning run. He hits a high fly ball to deep center, and it is dropped out there by Prosser. Wolf trying to go first to third. He makes it, and on the throw to third, Noah Merrill goes to second base. A long fly ball to center. We'll see it again here as it plays out. It got over the head of Prosser. That'll drop in for a hit out there, and then he takes second as they tried to get Wolf at third. That was ineffective, and the Arrows have runners at second and third with one out.
Yeah, good job there. We'll get the wind-aided hit there off the bat of Merrill. That one just kept carrying. The wind is going to dead center field right here at the moment, as you highlighted in the pregame. So good job by the Arrows taking advantage there, and Merrill hitting it just hard enough out of the outstretched arms of Prosser, and the Arrows are in damage here, doing some damage.
We have one out. Brayton Stewart fouls the first pitch back. Second and third. A base hit here could tie it right back up.
Yeah.
There's a bouncing ball. It will get a run home. Takes a bad hop, but Longwell handles that one and throws out Stewart. Tanner Wolf comes home to score. Stewart picks up his 14th RBI. Good piece of hitting to get the run in. Merrill moves over to third base. 2 outs, and it's now 3-2. Trenton Summers coming to the plate.
Yeah, Trent Summers coming to the plate here, hitting out of the 6-hole, hitting 200 on the campaign. This would be a big, big spot right here. If he can find some green here somewhere, get a base hit, we'll get this game tied up, get back to level here, David.
Jackson Henry delivers, and that's in there for a strike. 0-1 to Summers. Summers 0 for 4 on Wednesday. Take strike 2. Jackson Kenny waiting on deck. Arrows batting in the first. We've had a busy first inning.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. It's supposed to happen. You're supposed to pitch it. You're supposed to hit it. You're supposed to field it.
It's upstairs for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Summers.
I made that sound very elementary, didn't I?
Well, you got to break it down.
Yeah, I'll be here all day.
Yeah.
With 2 game day guests, courtesy of Wickham and Hess.
Yeah, that's coming up, bottom of the second, Chris?
Yeah, top of the second, either one.
There's a swing and a miss.
Same.
Top of the second's coming right up. That's it for the Arrows. They do get 2 big runs in the first. 2 hits. There was an error, and 1 man left on base. We go to the second inning. Galion leading the Arrows 3-2.
Simonson Construction is proud to sponsor Arrows Athletics, the most trusted and efficient construction company in the region. With a long history of doing things the right way from concept to completion, Simonson Construction solves all your construction needs for commercial and public projects. A truly local company providing award-winning comprehensive design-build services since 1974. For more information, scan the QR code or go to simonsonconstruction.com. Come visit the South Street Grill in downtown Ashland, the official watch location every Friday night during the Arrows football season. You can catch all the action in the bar area on the big screens. Elevated casual dining in downtown Ashland, steaks, seafood, hand-patted burgers, vegetarian options, salads, and a huge kids menu. Something for everyone in a completely renovated, historic building. South Street Grill, your home for Arrows football.
Well, it's 3-2. Galion leading the Ashland Arrows. We go to the second inning as Carter Nelson will get the ball back and be ready to go here for his second inning of work. His team has brought him back into the ball game. Now just a 1-run difference. Galion will have the top of the order coming up. Game day guests here on Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network coverage brought to you by Whitcomb & Hess. They have your needs covered. Plan, grow, and thrive. Financial advisors and CPAs will help you grow your business and investments. Kane Hay making his way to the plate after a leadoff double in the first. Chris, take it away. We've got our game day guest all set up.
Yeah, courtesy of Wickham and Hess. It's Ben Spiel Dinner. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Get you fixed up there a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah, the microphone. I had to learn that. Wells taught me that some time ago. The thing was too far away, and he said, get it close to your mouth. So had to learn that. So you're a graduate of Ashland High School.
I am.
What activities did you do? What kind of events were you in? Any sports? Like, talk to us a little about high school, what you remember about it, what you liked about it, and maybe, I guess, if there's some things you didn't like about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a 1997 grad of AHS. I was pretty involved, actually, when I was in high school. I didn't play ton of sports. I played tennis.
Okay.
Loved tennis, but I was more involved in the arts, more involved in theater. I did a lot with photography when we had it at the Panorama. Actually taught some photography courses when I was a student because we used film back then.
I remember putting them in the water or whatever that stuff was.
Yeah, the dark room. Yeah. Yep. So spent a lot of time in that dark room. Did a bunch of stuff with leadership. So we had TNT. It was Top Notch Teens. That was led by
Galion, number 10.
by Jerry. Wow, I'm losing his name now. Who's like a legendary guidance counselor at Ashland High School.
Let's go with Weiss.
There. Okay, that works. Yeah. Just involved in a lot of leadership, a lot of the arts.
Okay. So you enjoy that. So are you kind of, what is that, left brain or right brain with the arts?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But the superintendent,
I think right brain.
The superintendent's going to follow you up. We'll put him on the spot and see
There
if he
you
can
go.
figure it out.
Perfect.
Right?
All right. Yep.
So after Ashland High School, where'd you go to college? Where'd you headed? And so on and so forth.
So actually, funny story. I wanted to be an astronaut. So that's what interested me in NASA. I wanted to fly in the space shuttle. I actually wanted to fly the space shuttle. And I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy. And then my junior year, I got glasses.
Yeah, you're done.
Yep. So
You're out.
I thought, well, all right, well, what am I going to do next? So I loved English. I loved school. So I went to College of Worcester for my undergrad.
Okay.
Had a great experience there. Majored in English and minored in education. And I figured, I had such a great educational experience. I wanted to be able to give other kids that same experience. Be a mentor. And help kids have a great experience at school.
So you wanted to give. That's cool. Do you know that the College of Worcester will never want for anything? Did you know that?
No.
Do you know who the most famous graduate of College of Worcester is?
I know a few. I don't know who's the most famous.
The most famous College of Worcester graduate that most people do not know is Rob Walton.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Rob Walton happens to be the eldest son, former chairman of Walmart Stores Incorporated. You can check him out, WMT, on the New York Stock Exchange. The eldest son of Sam
I didn't know
Walton.
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So when they built the store in Worcester, guess who came and cut the ribbon?
I bet.
Yeah, you can imagine
The
who
man,
it was.
yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, I had a great experience there too. It was it was different. And it's only 25, 30 miles away. It felt like a totally different world though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely different world over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stay out of Wayne County when we can.
Yeah.
We just stay here.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
It's all right.
We don't go to Worcester when we have to, unless we have to. It's like once every fall, every other year we have to go over there, and then for hoops too. So what led you? I mean, you talked a little bit about it. You wanted to help, you wanted to serve, and all that, but there had to be something outside of just the astronaut when you were like a junior in high school, and then you're like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to go to college, right? You have to go to college to get those prereqs out of the way, I assume. So was there anything that you kind of contemplated before you decided to become an educator?
Yeah, I mean there were a few things, like I even thought about youth pastor, and just everything I kept coming back to. It was it just felt like, I don't know, mentoring kids.
It's cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really felt like I think I had so many great mentors growing up. I had so many amazing adults who just poured into my life. That I don't know, they were so instrumental in forming, I don't know, who I am today, my values, all those kinds of things. So I guess I wanted the opportunity to be able to kind of be one of those people for someone else.
Yeah, it's cool. So you mentioned mentoring kids. And my favorite program in the high school, I say this all the time when I get an opportunity to talk about it, because I hope all these kids that are coming up take advantage of it, is Arrow to Arrow.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible.
I love it.
Yeah.
Both of my kids went through that, and they served as mentors. And some of the funnest times that Tara and I both have had is when we cooked dinner, we sat at the kitchen table, and Camden would talk about, Johnny in the 5th grade is going through a divorce with his parents, and, the brother's over here, and he's with mom or whatever. And I'm like, well, how'd you deal with that? And he'd talk about it, and I'm like, it almost brings tears to your eyes. Like your kids are getting it, right? Like it's super important. I think it's an awesome thing, and mentoring just anybody, right? Not just kids, but it's really massive.
Yeah, it's incredible the amount of empathy that these kids learn, and just the stories. And I think maybe that's why I went into English. Is you start to learn about people's stories. You get to find out how they, why they do what they do, why they think what they think. And you get to see really what they're passionate about and what they love. Yeah, absolutely.
So what roles have you held at ACS? Is ACS the only place, your only stop?
No, so I actually taught for the first 4 years of my career. I was a Bobcat over at Norwayne High School. So taught there for 4 years, and that was an incredible experience. I loved it over there. Loved the people, loved the administrators, loved the teacher. And then I actually got a call from Rich Wazowski, and he was like, hey, we have a position open I think you should apply for. So I did, came here, and been here since 2005.
All right. So what roles outside of your current role? Like, kind of take us through your ACS career.
Yeah. So I started high school English. I did that through the 27-28 school year. Excuse me, 2017-2018 school year. 2018-2019. Hopefully I get these years right.
It's okay. It's your story. No one will disagree. It's your story.
So somewhere around there, somewhere around 2018, 2019, I actually I had the opportunity to become a tech coach. And I first started at the high school, and then I kind of branched out, and it was kind of middle school and kind of Taft. I had the opportunity to do some really cool things in my English classroom. So I wrote two courses, reading and writing through games. And so we used video games and board games as text. So for kids who they just didn't find like the normal novels and things like real accessible, but they played a lot of video games and they kind of understood that world. And there was a whole language and vocabulary with it that was real similar to what you would get, in kind of a novel. So I thought, well, let's try it. So, so I got a lot of support from the administration for that. So from there, that's how I kind of got the tech coach gig. And then I coached through COVID. So COVID hit. I had a small little closet office here at the high school when I was doing my tech coach thing. Got a call from the superintendent, who at the time was Dr. Mara. He said, hey, state of Ohio's telling us we got to go remote here in about 24 hours. So we need to train all the teachers how to teach remotely. So the next day, we had kind of did it by grade levels, and we went into Archer, and I showed them, okay, this is kind of how we're going to do this, and it was pretty wild. So I spent the day training all the teachers how to go remote. We had a bunch of teachers who were really capable and were super helpful, and so we all kind of pitched in, and then from there, I was kind of on call to help out where it was needed. For all those courses, K through 12, trying to help people get things taken care of and tech issues and that kind of stuff. So, and then after that May, a new position was created, and what we started to realize was in the district we had a lot of hardware, we had a lot of software, we had some brilliant IT guys. And what we needed somebody who's kind of like a middleman, so someone who kind of went between the teachers and our tech guys, who was kind of able to talk kind of both sides a little bit.
The language, I call it.
Yeah, the language. You got it. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I applied for that position, and I got it. And so ended up taking that, and then that changed into Chief Innovation Officer under the leadership of our current superintendent, Steve Paramore. And so then that took on even a slightly different role after COVID, looking into ways that we can innovate in the district and ways that we can look at new and emerging technologies to see what's useful versus, what's just kind of it might be the next big thing, but is it really helpful to us? So, and then from there, Linda McKibben, our former curriculum director, she retired, was rehired for a few years, and decided she was officially ready to move on with the next step in her life. And so Steve was generous enough to give me the opportunity to be able to step into that role then as our chief curriculum officer. So,
hang on one second, I got a question for you. David, you want to get a little quick update here?
Well, we've got Galion rallying here, Chris, as they have the bases loaded. A run is in. Back-to-back hits by Albert and Longwell. You've got Fricky up at the plate right now, 1-2. They've had a nice inning so far, only one out, 4-2 Galion. And they're going to add to it there. Line drive single is going to score Emery Main. The bases will remain loaded. 5-2 Tigers.
So a chief curriculum officer, like, what do you, like, I guess, let me back up. So we have Steve on here. We talk about all things, whether it's budget or whether, he gives an update from Kyle or for Kyle, I should say. Or, have Jason on here. We talk athletics. We talk, Josh is on. We talk about the school, whatever, right? But we've never had you on. And you send your kid to school to get a damn education, right? Like, that's point number one, right? It's not all the sports. People think sports are number one and education's two, but I hate to break it to you, it's not. So, like, how do you decide what the second graders are going to learn or what the sophomore class is going to learn? Like, let's understand that, as I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny, when people ask, what is it that I do? And I tell them curriculum. They're like, okay, that's great. Then that's pretty much it, right? So that's a great question. Really, with the state of Ohio, they have curriculum standards for every grade level and every content area. That basically, those are the requirements of the kinds of things that we need to teach. And so they're phrased in sentences, some in paragraphs, dealing with math, science, English, those kinds of things. Basically, the expectations kids need to know at the end of those grade levels. How districts interpret that is kind of partly up to them. I mean, it's pretty clear in terms of what the state expects kids to know. And all those content standards were developed with teachers and parents and community members in mind. And so basically what we do is we look at what possible resources can we purchase to help teachers master those content standards. And so we spend some time digging in. I do a lot of talking to our elementary teachers because my world is always secondary. So spend a lot of time talking to those teams. They always give a lot of great input. And so then we try to figure out, okay, what resources can we purchase that are going to help teachers do what they do best, which is, teach. And so, sometimes that means print materials, like in English and math. Sometimes those are digital materials, online materials that teachers can show kids. At upper grade levels, we use Canvas, which I know the kids absolutely love. And that's used to deploy basically a lot of our curriculums. We kind of just integrated right into that. And so some is digital, some is print, but ultimately all of those resources that we have, all that curriculum that we have is used to help kids master those content standards that the state of Ohio and parents and community members expect our kids to be able to know by the end of each of those grade levels.
I sense the inflection there in your voice and your face.
Yeah, kids are not a huge fan of Canvas.
I caught it.
Yeah, but I will say this. Canvas is the most popular, most widely used, I'll put it that way, most widely used learning management system in the world.
Yeah, so they use it at John Carroll.
Yeah, Fortune 500 companies use it for training. It's used at a ton of them, a ton of universities and colleges. So absolutely.
So you're no stranger to extracurriculars as well. We just let another guy just go to second base unimpeded and didn't even look at him. So I'm at a loss for words. That's now twice in a number of innings of 2. So what are you involved with in extracurriculars?
Yeah. So anymore, I have actually, I no longer have any more curriculars I'm involved with. So this will be the end of all of mine at the end of this year. So at one point, I was the musical director. I did that for a lot of years over, gosh, I don't even know how many years I did that for. 10, 15 years?
Yeah,
something like that.
That's a long time.
I did that for a long time. I did track timing for about 6 years. I did, what else? Esports. I started our esports program at the high school. Started that. Did that for a number of years. Handed that off. I helped with, we had a home cross-country invite, helped with that, helped mow that. I've kind of done a little bit of everything throughout the years.
So you're done with the musical?
Done with the, This year I didn't have anything to do with that. I just got to be a cheerleader.
No kidding.
So it's fun seeing it from this side now because now I just get to tell them how awesome they are.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
So your flock is lightening up by one.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we have a son who's graduating. So
Where's he going to go to school?
That's I don't think he's going to school.
Okay.
The next big question is what career path is he going to take? So
Okay. So no
a lot
college.
a lot of those conversations trying to figure out what does the next step look like. So
right.
maybe college eventually, but
Okay.
so
I
yeah.
didn't go to college.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I love
It's
learning.
not for everybody, yeah.
It's not. I love learning, but I love learning about what I want to learn about.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, I told Wells the other day, I said, look, I was done at 8:04, the bell rings, and I got to go talk about geometry. Like, hey, that's just not for me, right? But
I get it.
You know, you can do it. You just got to have a big passion, big heart, and
Yeah.
a big determination and will to win, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would tell them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's some characteristics that each person has in themselves, and they just got to find what works and
Yeah.
make it suitable for, you know, the workforce and
Yep.
find your way. And, you know, I would tell them, too, the trade industry, whether that's plumbing or electricians or any of that stuff, that's in high demand. And
Oh, huge.
It is, you know, people can make $100,000 plus just being an electrician, a
Yep.
plumber, and whatnot. So, you know, those skilled trades are really good careers as well.
I know one of our core values is to know your value and bring value to others. So that's one of the things I kind of keep telling them. You know, if you have the option, the ability to be able to know your value and what it is that you can bring to the table, it's huge.
Yeah, from a guy like in my seat, you know, in Steve's seat, in your seat, you know, you hire people too. It's you got to find the candidate that fits right with what you need, right? And if you're
Yeah.
honest with the candidate and you're honest with yourself and the business or organization, I always call the school a business because
Yeah,
to me that's
no.
really what it is.
Yes.
You got to find the culture fit and all those things, right? And I know that's important to you and Steve. I mean, you've got a tattoo that says integrity, and
Yeah,
Steve doesn't, but it basically does. And he
Yeah.
wrote the core values. And
Yeah.
you know, talk a little bit about that and how you guys try from the upper echelon of the management here within the city school district to manage down and have everybody. I always say, they get tired of me at work saying this, but I'm a broken record. We're all going to pull the rope in the same direction, and if
Yeah.
we don't pull the rope, I'll get the scissors out. You know, and I think everybody knows what that means. So, talk a little bit about how you guys try to do that in the district.
Yeah, I think so. Steve is a great leader for this organization. He's all about relationships. He's really all about people. We try to tell teachers every opportunity we have that test scores are not the most important thing that we do. And I think that's important for everyone to recognize, because kids are more than just a score. They have a story, they have passion, and I think that's one thing that I know that Steve exudes is just the idea that we are in the business of people. Our most important asset is human equity. And so the more that we can deposit into that human equity, the more that we can do to make sure that the people in the organization know that they're needed, know that they're wanted, that they know their value, then especially the teachers, the staff, parapros, bus drivers, maintenance, custodial, every single person in the organization has the opportunity to be able to positively affect those around them. And so I think if we can continue to make sure that the people in the organization continue to be the most important piece of all of this, then I think we're going to do okay. So I think Steve does a great job of setting the pace there. And then I think the other aspect of this is that there's a lot of trust. Steve and I have worked on a lot of projects over the years in different aspects, and when he was business manager, or even when he was an assistant principal, and we've known each other for a really, really long time. There's just a real high level of trust there, and we have a high level of trust too for staff members, for those in leadership, for our other administrators in the district too. And I think that trust is important, because then that allows us to do what we do best, and allows them to do what they do best. Without, with kind of all of us, staying in our lane, but being able to jump lanes if we need to and be able to help out wherever is kind of needed.
Yeah, last question for you. It's been a really good conversation. Favorite thing about ACS?
Oh, that's a great question. It's the people. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely the people. I just have so many memories over the years in so many different aspects. Absolutely, it's the people. It's the parents, it's the students, it's the community, staff, administration, everybody. Really, it's the people.
That's cool. It's a great answer.
Yeah, thanks.
That'll make your bosses happy.
Well, it's the
and
truth.
the people that report
It's
up
the
to
truth.
you for sure.
Yeah, it's the truth. So
you can't do. I've learned you can't do anything meaningful without support.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
And it doesn't matter if that's in your marriage,
Absolutely.
right? You're not doing
Yeah.
that yourself. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
if you're parenting, you're probably doing that co-parenting thing, right?
Yeah.
Doing it both
Absolutely.
ways.
Yeah.
Whether you're running a business or
Yep.
you're in a building teaching curriculum or I don't care. I mean, you got to have everybody pull the rope together and buy into the same culture and the same message and all the things that trickle down from that.
Yep.
So
Nobody's self-made.
no. Maybe Sam Walton, but he had
That's
help
true.
too.
That's true.
He had a lot of
That's
help.
true.
I can promise
He
you
did,
that.
yeah.
David Glass and some of
Yeah.
those other people. So, hey, man, really good conversation. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for coming on
thanks for the
today.
opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. And that's Ben Spiel Dinner, 97 AHS grad, the Chief Curriculum Officer at Ashland City Schools, David.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Chris and Ben. 1-0. You're 1-0 the count to Jake Bryant batting for the Arrows right now in a 6-2 ball game. 3 runs for Galion in the second inning, just the same as their first inning was. Now 6 runs on 8 hits for Galion, and 2 runs on 2 hits. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning. Jake Bryant, a .300 hitter with 6 RBIs. Jackson Henry continuing on the mound, now has a 4-run cushion. The 2 runs he gave up in the first inning were unearned. And continues to blow out to center field. Clouds have kind of taken over. 3-1, hammered out to center field, but Prosser is there. He'll put it away, and the Arrows go 1-2-3 in the second inning against the junior right-hander, Jackson Henry. We have 2 in the books here at Bud Plank Field. Heading to the third, it's Galion 6 and Ashland 2. Arrows down 6-2. We go to the third inning. Galion coming up with the top of the order for the third time. They've batted around in each of their first 2 innings, scoring 6 times. And it is a 4-run ball game. Kane Hay will lead things off. He's 1 for 1 with a double and a walk, 2 runs scored.
And one thing
Nelson
to
trying to get things under control here, Chris.
Yeah, sorry about that, David. One more thing to note, though. Lots of traffic through 2 innings on the base
sure.
paths that have been left out there, too. This game could be worse than 6-2 in a hurry.
Bases loaded in both innings.
Yeah.
So here's Hay. Nelson ready. First pitch of the third inning, fouled off. Strike 1. Checking that Arrows record, brought to you by Whitaker Myers, providing solutions for your insurance, benefits, and wealth management needs since 1869 with offices in Ashland and Worcester. Arrows 1 game under 500, 8-9. Looking into this ball game against Galion, 5-8 in the OCC. Everybody looking up at New Philadelphia. According to the OCC website, 13-1 in the conference. I don't know if that's accurate or not. They are just ahead of Worcester in second, and then the rest of the pack comes in.
Well, Worcester's state ranked. I think they
Yeah.
were 5th last I saw, maybe 6th. And New Philly, I'm sure they are. A nice hop there. Great play by Hegg. If he gets him, that's going to be he just held on to it. Smart play there. Hegg got a little bit of benefit. He hopped off the mound. If you're talking about geometry of Ben's building, I think that's what happened there, and it was allowed Hegg to kind of make a diving stop and, keep it in the infield. He didn't have really an opportunity there. He got down the line pretty quick, did the Galion Tigers. So infield single. You don't see that all the time, David.
Infield hit indeed. That's their 9th hit. Kane Hay is 2 for 2. Here's their leading hitter, Emery Main, who has laid down a perfect sacrifice squeeze bunt to force in a run, and he has walked. So 2 plate appearances, no ABs, and he's squaring around to potentially move Hay up.
Excellent job there by Nelson stepping off the mound. Main squares around about 3 minutes before the pitch is going to be delivered, so well done there by Nelson.
Throw goes to first. Emery Main, 14 RBIs now on the year.
And if we notice there, that snap throw to first base, Maine was already squaring yet again. So hopefully the Arrows were able to see that and communicate that to the defense.
Stewart tightening up at third base. Summers holding the runner on. He goes, pitches high and tight. Throw down to second base, not in time. Kane Hay swipes the bag. That is his 12th of the year.
The old fake bunt and steal, David. That's an undefeated play in baseball.
That one came in high and tight, Chris. Brought to you by 419 Barbershop in downtown Ashland. They'll get you looking fresh this spring. Check them out for all of your hair care needs. Looks like the Arrows will get some action going in the pen.
I'm going to guess that might be Carson Little.
Thought that as well. We'll see. Trying to get a number on him momentarily. Little did pitch on Wednesday night. Base hit left field. Cracked there by Maine. Rounding third, heading for the plate. Hay, throw cut off, and then it's thrown wildly to the plate area off the netting, and Emery Maine jogs down to second base after an RBI single. His second run batted into the ball game. It's 7-2 Galion. Hay never stopped around third. So they were forcing the Arrows to try to make a play.
Well, when you're up 4 in the top of the third with nobody out and you seem to be just barreling up the baseball, that's pretty wise. Don't stop, make a play.
Emery Maine, we'll say, takes second on the throw home. Kurt Hay to the plate, 1 for 2 in the ball game. So that is 10 hits for Galion. They've come into Bud Plank Field swinging very aggressively from the get-go.
It's a good team, good players. A lot of these players play, competitive summer ball, not the local stuff, and not the stuff that a lot of the Ashland County guys play. But they play Ohio Elite baseball and Columbus Cobras and some of that stuff too. So they're playing some regional tournaments and so on and so forth. So good players here that all through the Galion ranks, age-wise, they go all the way down to the junior high school level with some really good talent coming up. So, it's just one after another where they keep feeding team after team after team, and, they're always a very good squad. So the Arrows are, they have their plates full today.
Doesn't seem like there's very many breaks in this lineup. Hey, the number 3 hitter for Kenny Fagan. He takes a 4-pitch walk there. And runners are at first and second. Nobody out here in the third inning. And Ben Albert to the plate. He doubled in a run last inning. 1 for 2 in the ball game. Justin Dew calls time for the Arrows. He will head out and give Nelson a breather here and talk with the infield about how they want to play this defensively. The Arrows are down 5.
Yeah, David, you called that spot on. That is a opportunity to get the bullpen loose a little further. I saw head coach A.J. Beer walk out of the dugout towards the bullpen, probably to check on Walker Jarvis, according to BG. I think he's right there. I see the 7 on his back, so it looks like Walker Jarvis, once he's loose, will come into the ball game. But, Coach Dew buying a little time here to get that right-hander loose there in the pen, and I'm sure we'll see a move here pretty soon.
Jeff Burton heading out there to break up the meeting.
Did he drive race cars back in the day, David?
I don't know.
Exide Batteries 99 car for Roush Racing.
You were a fan?
I stumped you.
Yeah.
Used to be. Big Tony Stewart fan.
Okay.
Yeah. He drove the Brandon Gunder Pontiac Grand Prix back in the day.
Albert steps in. Nelson ready to continue now after the meeting on the mound. Summers in tight at first. It's the left-handed batter, Albert. It's outside for a ball, 1-0.
Summers better not play on the back of his feet, and he better have his hands up, because Albert can turn on a baseball, and Summers is literally 69 feet away from the home plate area.
Interesting placement here in terms of the infield alignment. That one is a strike outside corner. Stewart is deep at third. Nobody out.
You know, one thing, a hat tip to head coach Kenny Fagan's squad here. You know, it looks like the home plate umpire, Burton, he likes to call the outside pitch. Not one of these guys for Galion have looked back at the umpire one time or are balked about a call or argued or whatnot. They just get back in there and play.
This one lifted into foul territory down the left field side. It drops in amongst three arrows who are giving chase. Well, we talked about our keys to the game earlier. And the key to the game now is score some runs. Brought to you by Ashland Eye Care. Proud AHS alum Dan Denbo will handle all of your vision needs.
Talked about the walks, too, David. That's 5 walks issued by Arrow pitching here through 2 innings plus.
Well, only 1 in the K department. Here's the 1-2. That one is outside for a ball. In fact, that was Albert who struck out while Kurt Hay was stealing second back in the first inning. 2-2 now to Ben Albert, a .308 batter. He does have 13 RBIs. Grounded sharply to first. Summers scoops it up, throws to second. They do get the force there. Summers with that bum shoulder can't get a lot on those throws, but he did get enough to get Kurt Hay at second base. So runners are on the corners now, 1 out in the books for Trey Longwell. Give Albert a fielder's choice, he'll be aboard.
I didn't realize Summers got a bum elbow or shoulder.
3-6 on the middle out there. 1 for 3. Runner goes from first, and the pitch inside to Longwell. No throw down to second as Albert moves up a bag.
I wonder what these Galion uniform tops are all about. Baby blue on the back side and kind of a digital camo print maybe, or maybe that's a flower. I'm not sure what that is.
Well, spring is in the air, Chris.
Washington National City Connect inspired for the Galion Tigers uniform tops.
Makes perfect sense.
Love it. Whether that's true or not, that was a dynamite drop, and it was fabulous.
1 ball, 1 strike. That is just a bit upstairs. 2 balls, 1 strike. So first base empty now. Runners at second and third. Seems like we've said runners at second and third for Galion all night.
Did you notice that delivery of how confident that Washington Nationals delivery was? That was really good.
I think
it was
Randy
convincing.
spoke to the coach earlier.
Randy has this deal down.
3 balls and 1 strike. Trey Longwell at the plate, 2 for 2.
Did you sell them their uniforms? You knew that question was coming.
2 RBIs for Trey on the night. Here's the 3-1. That's inside. It's ball 4. That will load him up. That is probably going to be it for Nelson. I see A.J. Beer coming out. So Walker Jarvis will be coming into the ball game. We've got a pitching change timeout here at Bud Plank Field with the score. The Galion Tigers leading the Ashland Arrows by a score of 7-2. We'll be right back to continue with more play-by-play on the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network, presented by Sarver Paving. Your presentation will begin shortly. Welcome to the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network, presented by Sarver Paving. Your presentation will begin shortly. Welcome to the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network, presented by Sarver Paving.
Come visit the South Street Grill in downtown Ashland. the official watch location every Friday night during the Arrows football season. You can catch all the action in the bar area on the big screens. Elevated casual dining in downtown Ashland, steaks, seafood, hand-patted burgers, vegetarian options, salads, and a huge kids menu. Something for everyone in a completely renovated, historic building. South Street Grill, your home for Arrows football.
Ashland isn't just where we work, it's our home. From glorious country to Main Street parades, we're proud to be part of what makes this town special. At Bill Harris Dealerships, being a key member of the community is one of our core values. But it's more than that. It's a responsibility. Because without Ashland, without you, we wouldn't be here. So stay golden, Ashland. Bill Harris Dealerships, the name you know and trust. Ashland isn't just where we work, it's our home. From glorious country to Main Street parades, we're proud to be part of what makes this town special. At Bill Harris Dealerships, being a key member of the community is one of our core values. But it's more than that. It's a responsibility. Because without Ashland, without you, we wouldn't be here. So stay golden, Ashland. Bill Harris Dealerships, the name you know and trust.
Need a construction team that can do it all? Bo Lacey Construction delivers experience you can trust, done right on time, with free estimates and special financing offered for roofing, siding.
Walker Jarvis takes over for the Arrows here in the top half of the third inning. We have one out, 7-2 Galion. The bases are loaded. And the first pitch upstairs for a ball, 1-0. Jarvis, the sophomore, right-hander, 6'1", 190, facing Trey Fricky. Jarvis on in relief of Carter Nelson, who worked 2 1/3. This one high in the air, out to left center field, and it drops in there between Mangus and Kenny. It's going to score a couple of runs. Throw coming in far too late to the plate. Maybe a play at third, but it's thrown away by Wolf. That's going to allow Longwell to come in and score. Fricky circling the bases, and he clears them. 4 runs on the swing by Fricky. The base hit into left center. The throwing error by Wolf, and that makes it an 11-2 ball game. Galion now with the bases empty, still 1 out, and Jackson Henry coming to the plate. A lot to unpack on that play, Chris.
Yeah, I think we ought to just delete that play. That one had a lot of activity, David. We had multiple errors in one event there.
First pitch to Jackson Henry, ball 1, 1 ball and no strikes. Again, Fricky, the 2 RBIs on the single. The throwing error by Wolf allows both Langwell and Fricky to score as the ball went into sort of no man's land out there. And Arrows had trouble getting to it before they could. Fricky had rounded the bases, and he came home to score.
We had to take a breath here so I could get out of that, event of throwing the baseball around. But what happened, the ball comes in from the left side from Hag to home plate. Not going to get the runner at home, so the Galion Tiger moves up towards third base. The issue is Brayton Stewart is about 17 feet off the bag. So there's no one on the bag. He sees Wolf come in front of the plate, grab the ball. He's going to throw it down there. Stewart's rotating back towards the bag. So what's your mind say? Oh, my, he's not there. And then he just lets it go, right? And it goes over his head. Left fielder Kenny not there in a backup position because he's backing up Hag. It's a recipe for, it's basically a tsunami, David. We'll go with that word for a descriptor.
Well, Jackson Henry, it's a bouncer that took a funny hop. Jackson Bryant managed to hang on to it after it took that hop off the lip of the grass. He throws him out. 4-3, 2 gone, and Braden Harvey to the plate. He is the 8th man to bat in the inning. Steve Paramore is with us, Chris.
Yeah.
As we will welcome in our second game day guest as Harvey bats here. He has walked twice in the ball game so far. Walker Jarvis looking for that third out of the inning.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve's here. We tried to do a couple games, Steve, superintendent of Ashland City Schools, and rained out. We tried to do 2 games. I tried to do a couple with the voice of the Falcons. They got rained out. I was going to do a game with Camden. That got rained out. And fortunately, thanks big hat tip to Brandon Gunder and David Wilson, they've been able to juggle their schedules and get all these games broadcast. We've been able to play them here at Bud Plank Field at Archer Arrows Park. And then, obviously they've had to move some games over to AU. So, appreciate John Shalley and President Petey for allowing us to play there. I'm sure you let those guys know about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, appreciate you having me today. Thanks for all that you do for this telecast and taking it to our viewers all over the world. It means a lot to Arrow Nation, and we do have arrows all over the world. So that one's going to hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. So graduation around the corner. You are going to be an official empty flocker. I'm going to be an official empty flocker. Nobody's going to be out in the house anymore. Talk a little bit about graduation, what the people and the viewers can expect, and then a little bit about the class in 26 in general.
Yeah, we're always looking to have graduation outside on June 6th, so it's a 10 a.m. start, weather permitting. If for some reason the weather doesn't cooperate, we go at 7 p.m., and then if the weather doesn't cooperate, then we go into Arrow Arena, which we don't really want to do because then you have to sign tickets and you have people in Archer Auditorium. So, yeah, it's exciting to honor the class of 2026 every year. It's emotional for me. I went to the Career Center graduation today and teared up. So
Nice.
it's just maybe I'm just soft. So we care deeply about these kids and what they do and what they represent. And they come from great families. And the fact that we've had a little bit of an impact on them throughout their career, whether they started with us in kindergarten or have just been with us for a year. It means a ton to us, and we hope it means a lot to them.
So we had some important topics we were going to talk about, not once, not twice, but now 3 times that we've kind of laid out here with some topics that we wanted to cover. We're going to go back in time and talk about some of those, but recap the district art show. I know that's something that happens meaningfully in your house, and obviously something with the arts that are important here within the city school district.
Yeah, our performing and fine arts are a huge part of what we do here at Ashland City Schools. So we have an entire weekend dedicated to visual art, performing arts. Starts off with a big second grade concert in Archer Auditorium, and then every student K through 5 has a piece of artwork in the art show, and then you have all the way up to the seniors in high school with some of their large showcase projects.
2-run double there off the bat of the leadoff hitter, Kane Hay. If he was an Arrow, I think he'd have a date up here with us, David. The kid has not gotten out yet. 3 for 3, scored 3 times, 2 singles and a double. Been pretty effective.
Drives in 2 there, so he has added 2 RBIs to his total. Makes it 13-2, guys.
May Fiesta happened.
Yeah, it did. It was a great weekend. We just do 2 shows on Saturday, so that was last Saturday. Once again, kind of emotional to watch those seniors sing for the last time collectively, but it was Ode to Disney, which I'm just going to say it was a little bit ironic because we may have had some adventures down at the Disney trip this year, so maybe that's too soon. But on that front, we have received our insurance check, and those instruments have already been ordered, and I think some of them have already arrived. So I know it doesn't replace some of the sentimental value, but just our Sorsa folks have been great with that, and Marty Krall and his team getting new instruments. But yeah, May Fiesta, Abby Hayes did a great job. But most importantly, it showcases the talent we have in our choirs of all levels, from symphonic choir to a cappella to kind of at the end where we brought up the Barbie Lang was up. There was 4 generations with Grace Tobias, Barbie Lang, Barbie's mom, and I think Anthony Tobias was up there. So it was pretty impressive. So I think I missed the show at the 2:00 show. I don't know if
I had that one covered.
Did DC go?
No.
DC didn't go
Yeah,
up?
he probably was getting prepared for a meeting or 3.
Okay. So I thought maybe I missed, because obviously Aiden Chandler, big voice, big personality, but definitely our friend Dan Chandler, who I know promoted alumni getting up there and singing God Be With You. So was great to see I think they had 52 participants at the 7 o'clock show.
I think, speaking of that, it's really awesome that they did that, and whoever's idea that was really cool. But yeah, Dan went on Facebook, the town megaphone of allowing everybody to know what's happening. But I think the alumni should probably participate in a round of Old Routine next year.
That could be something else. Those boys do. They put it into hyperdrive for about the 5th version of it at the end of the night. But I think we could probably incorporate an alumni version of something every year.
Yeah. We'll have to see if DC can organize that.
I'm hearing it's in the works. An alumni basketball game during hoop season next year. So
that'd be fun. You gonna play?
I'll announce it.
Yeah, smart. You like where your knees are, ankles.
I feel like I want to be able to play golf.
Yes.
When golf season arrives.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of golf, what do you think about the setup this week?
I think Scotty was not happy today.
Yeah, he did.
I saw
everything
a tweet.
short of calling it unfair.
Yeah, he was not happy with the pin placements. I think it's a great golf course. Obviously, huge history.
Yeah.
Gil Hands, Reno. But I think there's going to be some. I mean, Bryson's 9 over, so
yeah.
The big golfer is he's scratching his head.
I love it. I love 2 things about it. One, I love that it's not a birdie fest. I think that's awesome, and I love that it's more. I don't think it should be the U.S. Open, and that's basically what we're getting. A little easier than the U.S. Open right now. We'll see if they just take leaf blowers out to 18 greens. Tomorrow and Sunday and dry them out beyond belief. We'll see if that happens. But I love that there's no step cut, no first cut. It just goes from straight carpet into the rough, and I think that's really cool. And I think there's, we talk about length of the golf ball, we talk about the equipment, we talk about all these other things. But if you eliminate that 4 or 5 yard path or whatever distance you want to call it of the first cut and go straight to the penal area, it's one way to protect the golf course too.
So I think something I compare it to, you and I had the opportunity to go to Oakmont last summer.
Nuts.
And so it reminds me of a smaller version. Obviously, there's some long holes there.
Yeah.
But not quite the beast Oakmont is, but just some similarities. So I think right now the fairways are running 10.5 on the stimp meter. So Oakmont was the same way, even though we experienced some serious rain there.
Oh, my gosh.
But the cream will rise. Undoubtedly. I mean, will Aldrich Potgieter be there?
No.
Probably not.
No, he doesn't roll it well enough. He's caught lightning in a bottle for 2 days. I mean, you have got to have a stroke like a
Cam Young.
Yeah, I like that one. It's better. You know my feelings on him, and I think he's there with the flat stick now. He's really dangerous, but you got to have a Xander Schauffele. Like, the guy's got the shortest mind ever out of anybody, I think, and he can roll it, and boy, can he compress the golf ball too.
I think with his pedigree, his experience, all-around game, how can you not think Scotty Scheffler doesn't have something to say by Sunday?
Totally agree. We could talk about this for 2 hours. We both love golf. Purse Bingo, you got a chance to, MC that baby again.
I think that was the Tara Mowry show.
Yeah, it was.
Came home a big winner, I'm sure. But no, they added seats this year, so I want to say it was 530 women. I feel like if there was a lot of homes in Ashland without females in them that evening. But no, it raised a tremendous amount of money for the Ashland All Sports Booster Club, and kudos to Joe Reap, Tiffany Anderson, Mindy Long, Amy Harris, I think, still is involved with that. Brittany Reap. All of our coaches that serve 530 women, get them food. Huge shout out to O'Brien's for catering it. And it was a great night. A lot of fun, I think.
Well, there'll never be a server like the one time I did it. I'll promise you that. I think I sold. They said I went back there. I wasn't even going to help, and then I dropped some people off. I brought something for the golf team, and what are you doing, Chris? Nothing. You want to help? Sure. Whatever you need. And I went back there, and Caleb Cox and AJ and Stack. I mean, Stack's quiet, believe it or not, at that event. I don't know how that happens, but he was quiet, and a couple others. And they're like, "Man, we got all these beverages left." I'm like, "Well, why don't you go sell them?" Well, how do you sell beverage? I'm like, "What?" I said, how much do you want for them? You just load my tray. I'll bring it back empty, and you just keep them coming. Yeah, right, whatever. And my gosh, I must have offloaded 150 of those things in no time, and they were out.
There is plenty of consumption, and it is.
It's a good event.
Yep, they really show out and have a great time, and there's a lot of smiling faces, even though there's only 18 winners by the end of the night, so minus some baskets and some pull tabs. So no, kudos to Ashland All Sports Booster Club. It's been 3 or 4 unbelievably successful years with purse bingo. So
speaking of pull tabs, we'll promote BW3s here for a minute. Joe Reap was able to get a machine out there, which is really awesome that, a big venture capitalist-owned firm is allowing that to happen and kind of, give some money back into the community. So I think it's really great. But we took Stu and my clan out there the other day, and we ate. And Tara stands up, and she pulls a 10 out of her pocket and puts it in the machine. I'm like, oh, that's nice of you. We didn't win anything. She pulled another 10. She didn't win anything. And I'm smarter now than I used to be because I would have unloaded just to try and do something. But I put a 20 in there, and we pulled nothing. And I'm like, well, whatever. Put another 20 in there. Won $4. So I'm like, well, I'm not putting 4 singles back in my pocket. So I go up, cash it out, get 4 singles, put the 4 singles in there. I give Tara 1, me 1, Mason 1, and Camden 1. Mason rips off 4 C notes on 1. So I go back up to the bar, and I said, I'm going to cash out. She said, oh, another few bucks? I said, yeah, something like that. She says,
and a $10.99.
Whatever. She said, no, that's $599. $599. I'm well aware of what that number is. So she brought it back, and the waitress comes. She says, well, let's just keep putting it back. I said, you want a tip? It's the biggest tip I ever left in my life, like $40 on an $80 bill. So, anyways, spring sports, wrapping them up here.
Yeah, we huge shout out to our softball team. Unfortunately, I think their season ended in the tournament last night against Shelby at Shelby, but a young team, a promising team. We had 2 guys step in with a coaching change really, really late in the ball game. But boy, the Marley Hendersons and the Rowan Garns coming up through the Chloe and Claire Crunkletons. I think you've got a junior in Josie Van Tilburg. Lauren Crewman's a freshman, and I think there's some kids coming. So we've got new turf coming at the softball field this summer. So
infield or a whole thing?
Just infield.
Very nice.
So yeah, it's going to be a good project. Came in under budget, and that'll start here June 8th. And so softball's hopefully headed in the right direction. And then obviously OCC track meets going on right now. Mm-hmm. Started about 3:30 today. We've got some kids that are absolutely competing, and so they'll go further into postseason. And we've got boys tennis, and I can't speak to exactly where they're at, but they've got to be close to postseason in boys tennis. And you know what? I hope our high school golf team's practicing right now because the weather's nice.
Yeah, I've seen Reed out there.
Well, he's going to be a college golfer, so he better be out there.
Well, I agree, but the college golfers in Ashland, you know this more than me. I just witnessed it, but you lived it. They all look up, the high school kids. They all look up to the college kids. You looked up to Tom Castor, and you looked up to Nordy, and now Camden looked up to you, and Tyler looked up to you, and AC looked up to you, and, well, somebody, I don't know who it is looking up to Reed. Yeah. And was looking up to Landon, and that's the lineage of the high school boys golf team that's been here for, I don't know how many years, 75 years or whatever it's been, that it just keeps progressing, and there's always a player or two in all these different classes that come through that these kids keep looking up to.
Yeah, we obviously have 2 golf courses in town. That's a beautiful thing. We have a large junior golf program out at Brookside. You've got accessibility. Neither are private. So really, it's one of those games that if a parent gets their kid into it, they realize it's something they can play with their kid down the road. Yeah, I think it's one of those games where you catch the bug.
Yeah,
and
I watched it.
Then also if you get kind of individualized with it, or it's your specific sport, it'll consume you. And obviously I don't get to play in practice as much as I'd like to, but it still consumes me through watching it on TV.
Yeah.
So, it's awesome to watch kids grow in the game. Obviously something I love. And, we got a kid that's got one more year at Ohio State. We got kids that are freshmen, sophomore, juniors. Camden will be a senior at JCU, and we're all over the place. Clara just ended her career, and I'm okay with it.
It's the most stressful thing as a parent.
Yeah,
like, it's
it
crazy.
is. It's probably one of the. I could watch baseball all day long, and golf's hard to watch. So I love watching, but it's hard.
It is tough, especially as a parent, man. It's the most. I hear the wrestling parents all the time say, "You just don't understand." And I'm like, "You're right, I don't." But your kid's out there with the spotlight right down on them. It's one, and everybody's watching, and this is no different with golf. It's look, you butter fade one in, and it goes into you rinse it. Like, well, drop it. Here we go.
Yep.
You're hitting 3 now. It's the way it goes. Teacher Appreciation Week. I know that's something that's near and dear to your heart every year, and you guys celebrated that recently.
Yeah, that was last week. Obviously, we appreciate our teachers and our staff at Ashland City Schools all year long, but last week was designated as Teacher Appreciation Week, and just a lot of community engagement with that. We've got a strong PTO right now under the leadership of Melissa Worster and Robin Harvey, and the names could go on, and they're in the buildings providing meals and little trinkets and different ways to honor our teachers that do a tremendous job impacting our kids. I mean, we have almost 3,000 students in this district, and sometimes from my point of view, it's like, hey, we're parenting 3,000 kids and also educating them at the same time. So I think every one of our staff members, not only teachers, but every staff member takes that seriously and knows their value, and we're proud of what they do. And last week was just that week where you get to have a little bit of fun in a Looney Lemon lemonade and some of the other stuff that came with it. So our building administrators do a great job of taking time to honor those teachers as well, because you're in the grind a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing we talked about in football, we talked about last baseball season, we talked about the reconfiguration. I know Ashland Chatter had a field day with that thing. Like, that had to be a top 5 story on Ashland Chatter for the season. Talk about the success, or what you would have done different, or how that went there that you guys implemented.
Yeah, it's been really successful. In fact, today was Leadership Day. When we reconfigured, we decided through some of the graciousness of the Ashland County Community Foundation, we started the Leader in Me program for K through 3. And we thought that would be a great catalyst, along with the reconfiguration, to teach kids leadership and staff members leadership. And it's all through the Stephen Covey highly effective habits of leaders. And so they had their Leadership Day today. And so what the reconfiguration really has done is taken our kindergartnens and put them all together, so that you didn't have to wait till you're a 4th grader to finally meet some
somebody.
people that live in the same town as you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, holy cow, I'm in a classroom with 15 kids from Edison and I'm from Reagan. So that's key point number 1. And key point number 2 is now I have every grade level teaching alongside all of their colleagues, and you can collaborate and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, David, we're getting back in the baseball game here a little bit.
Well, 3 runs in for the Arrows. You've seen Trent Summers there crack a base hit into left, and then an error on Fricky allowed an extra run to score. So 3 runs in on 4 consecutive hits. Still a long way to go, but got to start somewhere, Chris.
How about Kenny's bat matching the batting gloves? That's impressive, Steve.
It's kind of Jose Ramirez matches the whole arm sleeve, shoes.
I was going to go with Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba Watson.
Absolutely, with the pink, yes.
He's got the pink on the driver shaft, and then he's got the Richard Mill watch, a $2.3 million watch that he wears out there on the Live Tour when he's walking the fairways.
I hope it's free.
I hope it's fake. whoever's wearing a $2.3 million watch playing golf has either got one, way too much money, or they're getting it for free.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go with both of those.
Yes.
Summer's around the corner, obviously. You guys are no stranger to doing projects throughout the summer, right? You use the downtime. People aren't in the buildings, maintenance staff, whatever. What do you guys got planned?
Yeah, outside of the general cleaning and maintenance of our buildings, 3 rather large projects. The renovation of our high school softball field up here to our kind of to our south east from Archer Arrows Park. And so it's going to get infield turf, some concrete around the outside. It's going to get a netted backstop, turfed bullpens, some new turf in the batting cage. And the parents' organization did a great job. They repainted the dugouts and added some decals. So shout out to Josh Garn and his crew of parents for doing that. But we will renovate the playground at Taft. That is our most widely used playground in the community for playgrounds at our school buildings. So that'll get a new blacktop surface, new playground apparatus, and more swings. And we're also redoing this will be a 2-year project. We'll redo the gym roof at Taft, and then next year next summer we'll redo the gym roof at Edison. They're the same age. And when they've kind of put new surface on them, they've just kept putting new surface.
That's how it goes.
So it looks like when they do a test of the material, it almost looks like a layer cake that's just saturated. So it's stayed dry from the inside, but it's time to take it down to the decking and redo it. So
Probably time to do it at Air Arena.
it's in the kind of the Rolodex of it's not far off. But yeah, it's one of those things where you have a capital improvement plan over a 5-year span, and the state asks you to do it that way. And so we have money set aside for roof projects moving throughout that 5-year period.
All right. Capital improvement, permanent improvement fund, all those things that allow a school district to run. You're the CEO of a district. You have 3,000 students, a little less than 300 employees, 260?
I think when it's all said and done, we're north of 350 that get a paycheck in some shape or form from Ashland City Schools.
350 employees, $26 million budget?
36.
$36 million budget. How in the hell are you going to keep that going if you don't get income tax or property tax?
I'm hearing it's not set in stone. I'm hearing they don't have enough signatures, and the minute I say this, they'll find 200,000 more signatures. But I don't think a lot of people understand how property taxes fund relative as 6,500 entities in the state of Ohio. So if you didn't have property taxes tomorrow in Ashland, we would lose 65% of our budget.
Number 13, Jackson, Henry.
That's a lot.
Yep.
How do you make it work?
Okay. No more lights at the stadium.
Okay.
No more buses.
Oh, that's a problem.
Right. Yeah. It's just brick and mortar. It's just brick and mortar education. We'd have to get rid of
Extracurriculars? We'd be no more baseball games, right?
No. You'd.
Or you'd have to pay out of your pocket to let your kid play out a
Yeah. There'd be a lot of borrowing of Chromebooks instead of 1-to-1. So yeah, it's super important. I think also there's a large coalition now that realize that it's not a good thing, and also our state legislators know that the abolishment of property taxes is not a good thing. But the way that school funding works is nobody has control right now in the state of Ohio of how valuable property is getting, right? Like if I own just a parcel of grass, it's up 35%, right? Kind of like Liquidia. So
just this week.
Sorry, I went there.
Just this week.
But yeah, and there's no caps on that, right? You're if your cul-de-sac has one house for sale and it just keeps bidding up, then everybody else's property becomes more valuable, even if you didn't do one single improvement to your property. So,
well, mine at 205 South is going down. It's decreasing.
I find that highly unlikely.
So just
I'd argue that.
So just let the property tax appraisers know that my house value is going down.
Next valuation should be in less than a year, and it's supposed to go up another 20%. So.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it's good if you're trying to sell your house. It's not great if you owe property taxes. Ashland City Schools is right there with everybody else. Nobody wants to pay more in property tax, but it is absolutely vital to everything you see that we do, from the telecast you're watching to when your kid comes home and says, I got an A on that test. It is impacted. If you think in terms of cost per student, the average student is impacted by, on average, 12 employees.
Really?
12.
I'd never heard that.
Yep. So all 12 of those employees have a wage, more than likely benefits, a distinct purpose. And so what the state hasn't honored is their end of the deal, saying, you know, everything inflationary has gone up.
Well, I can promise you that.
So right now the state is rocking with cost per student is at the 2021 level. Last time I checked, it's May of 2026. So
Yeah, the business I reside in, costs have escalated fairly high from May 21 until May of 26. That's for sure. You've got to be happy with the I'll call it the resurrection of Ashland. There's Bryant, nice play, nice short hop, and a good throw across the diamond there to retire the Galion Tiger for the second out of the inning. But you've got to be happy with the state of Ashland. From one, you love it here, but two, you've got a big responsibility within the community with all the building improvements that are going on, the developments that are happening that aren't announced yet. You and I both know there's several of those that are coming, and the general public will find out about those soon enough. There's new retail going in. Culver's is opening. There's other retailers that haven't been announced that are coming. There's, like, Ashland is becoming not just a bedroom community like it was for a little while, right? During the economic downturn, it was really tough, and every factory shuttered, and it was just a bedroom community. Frankly, you had a school and whatnot, Ashland University, thank God. But now it's becoming thriving, right? I mean, that's got to help Ashland City Schools as well.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of vibrant leaders in the community. Also, business owners that don't mind taking a risk and then capitalizing on it. Our mayor is absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, he's married to a state representative. That doesn't happen a whole lot. So Ashland is always something that is really talked about in high regard. But one thing that I'm passionate about, maybe I'm biased because I stayed in Ashland, but we want to create the next version of those individuals that stay here. So we know that there's employment here. We know that if you want to raise your family here, we feel like we can give an elite education at Ashland City Schools and prepare you for whatever that might be, military service, something in the trades. We send 169 kids to Heartland Technical Institute, our technical education center, which they've rebranded out there. And all of those kids are going to come out of there with an industry credential ready to go in 11, 12 different criteria, whether that's vet tech. I actually went to their graduation today, and it's pretty phenomenal what those kids. Joe Reap just hired their highest achieving HVAC student, but he had a double major at Heartland Tech. He was in the engineering program. So Joe got himself a great student who's ready to work. That kid, I believe, was a Loudonville kiddo. But we have 169 kids that were just, it was awesome to watch them walk across the stage, get their portfolio of everything they'd worked on in 2 years out there. And they're ready to be productive members of society. And then our kids that stay with us, how are we teaching leadership? How are we teaching kids how to treat people in their interactions beyond just the standards in science, math, language arts? Because, right, in your industry, you better know how to handle yourself around people. And I can't think of any occupation out there, and I'm not talking about, the ability to stay home and work from home, right, like that we experienced during COVID. I mean, being a genuine individual in this community, because you will impact people. And I think about our 350 employees. They impact people because they create relationships. Business is no different. The trades are no different, right? When somebody who has a skilled trade that shows up at my house to do work, if they have relational skills, that's huge.
You'll call them back.
I feel better about it.
Right.
So we're trying to honor that as we. Clara Paramore was telling me about, well, Dad, the next generation is Generation Beta, and then after that is Generation Gamma. hey, you're just the next generation of people that need to move in the direction. That's why we have 11 core values, because those core values resonate with every age.
It's 169 Ashland City Schools kids that went to Heartland.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that.
And some of those kids stay on campus.
Okay.
With our ag tech and our exercise science.
But they're traditionally known as Heartland students, even though they're here?
Yeah, they're career tech students.
Okay. So it's funny you say that. I had no idea you went down there, and I didn't know this is where the conversation was going to go. But I had Ben Spieldinner on before you did. And I mentioned the same thing to him. Like, he's going to be, his flock's empty after June 6th, right? Beckham's graduating. And I said, where's he going to college? He said, I don't think he's going to go yet. And I said, oh. And we started talking about trades. And I said, you can become a plumber today and make $100,000.
Easy.
You can become an electrician and make $130,000. And the world doesn't realize that in most instances and most oftentimes until you're the guy that owns the house and says, I'm not touching my outlet. I'll call the guy, and he says, yeah, no problem. I'll move that thing 6 feet to the right and move it up where your wife wants it, and that'll be $1,500. And it took him, before lunchtime. It actually took him probably an hour and a half to do, but there's a lot of opportunity out there for students that college might not be for them, right?
Yep.
And they can stay local, they can get involved, they can open a business, and that's how Bill Chandler started. I don't know if you know that. He opened and started an electrical business doing electricity and running wire and whatnot, and then one thing led to another. But, one of the most successful men and families in Ashland, he started in the trades. And it's just a big opportunity. I'm sure that's something that they pressed upon here at Heartland today. And then I'm sure you guys talk about it inside the district as well.
Absolutely. It's a little bit of that entrepreneur spirit. I don't think that's not a lovely word to every student, but it's about taking some risks and making them positive risks, being calculated about the decisions you make, right? Better decisions, fewer regrets. And we just have so many kids that we are shepherding them through you don't have to go the traditional path. And they're great kids, and they want to go work, and they want to work hard. The biggest thing that we hear from employers is, I want somebody that will show up. And,
that's a requirement.
Right. What content area is that other than attendance at school?
Responsibility.
Right. So it starts where you're implanting, like Leader in Me, K through 3. Show up for people. Have start with the end in mind. It's kind of tough to think about, graduation day when you're a kindergartner, but we have adults that try to do that for kids, right? We want to put you on a path and give you the supports that we can within our legal and within our legal means, and get you prepared for the future. And everybody's future will look a little bit different, but everybody's future will be bright if they work hard and show up.
David, little traffic on the base pass.
Well, the Arrows have a couple of men on thanks to an error and a single, 16-5. Right now, the Arrows looking to get a couple of runs across to try to stay in the ball game and prevent a run rule situation next inning, and they're well on their way here with one out.
Going to have to cut at least two more across the plate here. And there's a bullet by Haig right back up the box. That'll plate one, and going to have first and third now, maybe. Okay, good. Line throw was offline. Steve, I want to talk about Ethan Haig. You know his family, you know the dad, etc. I don't know them. I haven't met them. I said earlier when he came to the plate, this is the third baseball game I've done, believe it or not. This because of all the rainouts and I was traveling a little bit. This is the third one I've seen. This Haig kid is hitting .413. His on-base percentage is actually 120 points higher at .533 as a sophomore. Plays shortstop here. If that kid isn't a first-team All-OCC member, I'm going to announce that we should go ahead and disband all OCC awards from now going forward, because the popularity contest, if it happens, would not recognize the best shortstop in the league.
I think that A.J. Beer has the respect of his fellow coaches. So I would hope you don't have to worry about that. He is a tremendous athlete. He's a soccer player as well, I believe. Kind comes from good DNA.
Yeah, it's good.
His dad, John, was my age and was an all-Ohio swimmer, swam for the University of Virginia, and probably took part in an Olympic trial or two. I'm not virtually certain on that, but yeah, great family. Don, deep involvement in PCA over the years.
I'm well aware.
And, yeah, that's your Frederick Broad.
Yes.
So, yeah, I was talking to John, Ethan's dad, down there earlier. Because of those rainouts and different things like that, he said last year Ethan had 100 at bats or more at this point in the season. He's at 60.
Yeah.
Obviously hitting well at a, what'd you say, 414 average?
413 BA with a 533 on base percentage. Just tremendous.
Yeah.
And, it's we've had good ones here. I probably shouldn't have walked down this path because I'm going to sound like that guy, and people who know me know I'm not. But we went from Brennan Hunt, and then Camden played there for a lot of years, and now we've got Haig. So been pretty fortunate to have some pretty good players there for a lot of years consecutively. So really excited about that. State of the schools. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but kind of your opportunity to talk about what's going on in the district, what you're looking for next year, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I did put out a State of the Schools via our YouTube channel in February, but just kind of the long and short of it, maybe the Reader's Digest version. We're continuing to keep the momentum from the reconfiguration. This is hiring season right now at Ashland City Schools, so we probably had 6-7 retirements. I was lucky enough to maybe get 2 of those retirees to rehire, but so we'll be having a younger staff, and it was a good hiring season. We're not completely done, but having AU here in your backyard, that helps tremendously. They've got a great educational program, and many of those candidates were able to student teach in our school district, so they're familiar with it, and they bring not only expertise and energy, but also the ability maybe to coach. So, and hopefully they'll start their families here. And, that increases enrollment when families multiply. So the other thing is I can't really put my finger on it. I could give you a lot of reasons or be skeptical about it, but our enrollment is down. But also remember, we don't have a birthing unit in Ashland anymore.
Wild?
Yeah, we don't. So can't really tell how many children are born every year. I'm not going door to door to do that, but outside of going to Worcester or Mansfield or Norwalk, you can't really check that out. But we have 165 kindergartners enrolled for next year. That's the smallest class we've ever had. But in kindergarten, you're not typically seeing, hey, we're going to homeschool, or hey, we're going to do online learning. I think a little bit with the Ed Choice voucher, there might be a couple more kids that go to a St. Ed's or a Ashland Christian, but also we typically get those kids by their 9th grade year, maybe sometimes in 6th grade, but both wonderful schools. I no ill will whatsoever talking about them, but it's just one of those things. I don't know how available there are homes in Ashland. I
For
think,
sale?
Not really.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it goes.
No,
it
there's
goes.
not.
It goes super fast if one does pop open for sale, and then obviously we are. They're building some condos down by the pump house that look amazing, but I don't know if those are going to be family dwellings per se. So
well, the hotel's going in there, as you know, down there right now. That's what's trying to get open soon. And then to your point, there's going to be some apartments, I guess I'll call them, condos, townhome, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just there'll be some more single-family homes.
Yeah, they'll pop
come
open.
available.
Yeah,
well,
for
I
sure.
mean, some new opportunities. So
yeah,
that's
we're
coming down the path.
We're coming to the end of this school year. Super proud of the things that have been accomplished. But you keep moving forward. Really excited with some things that Mr. Spieldenner has coming with some professional development and kind of utilizing our staff and their expertise as opposed to going out and trying to bring somebody in all the time to try to maybe say the really cool word of the year for educational professional development. So Continuing to work with our partners at Ashland University and local businesses. Been very impressed with our learning through internship that our juniors and seniors can do. And then once again, we have a lot of juniors and seniors that take post-secondary option or college credit plus. And we had the senior meeting last Friday, and some of those kids, that was the first time they've been in the building all
Really?
year.
No
all
kidding?
Year. Yeah.
That's
all year.
wild.
They had awesome looking shirts on, but so it's just the way it goes. They're still our kids, and they still take part in all of these wonderful extracurriculars, but they don't often walk through our hallways, which is it's kind of an acquired taste, right? Like traditionalists would be like, oh no, they need to be there, but these kids, some of them are a couple of them will get associate degrees, and some of them will start their college careers as sophomores. So
it's pretty awesome if that's the opportunity.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Talk about open enrollment. That's a hot topic here. The next school district's over and around the state, I know.
Yeah, just the way school funding is currently. We're on the guarantee, and so we technically have been losing money on open enrolled students for ever since open enrollment started in 1992. It's never really been an issue until the funding model has gone kind of awfully wonky at this point. So we made a tough decision, and we kind of had a cutoff point. So our open enrollment is dedicated to students that are already here. Any of our staff members that would need to open enroll their children, they're able to do that. And then if you're attached to a sibling, and you had been you're an open enrolled student and you have a sibling coming. So, but you're going to see the biggest impact we're going to have 23 seniors graduating that were open enrolled. So there's 23 that you're losing of the 212, and then you aren't going to have 10 to 15 kindergartners that aren't able to enroll, but we would be losing upwards to $5,500 on them a year, based off of what the
Per
state,
head.
what the state says this is what it costs, and this is what you're going to get, because we don't get any of their property tax. Now, some of their parents may work in Ashland or own property, but they don't live here. So, it's tough.
So I got a question for the voice of the Massillon Tigers football squad. Open enrollment started in 1992. I would argue that open enrollment's been going on at Massillon since 1932. Do you have any insight on that?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
It rhymes with Easter.
Yeah. Hey man, I just call them.
I understand. I understand.
Oh, you'd be calling those names a lot.
That's a juggernaut up there, and they seem to say we need a right guard, and they find the best one in the state every year.
Somehow that guy just moves into the district.
It's ironic.
Yeah.
My favorite story though is I always forget the head coach's name.
Nate Moore.
Nate Moore moves from Cincinnati, LaSalle after 2 back-to-back state titles, and he brings an Ohio State left tackle commit with him that started at LaSalle, and all of a sudden Coach Nate Moore and his wife adopt him, or he lives in the house or something. So it's wild, David.
It looked kosher.
Yeah, it looks something. Kosher usually means, that's a Jewish term that means it's good and it's fine and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, anyways.
Number 1, Trey Longwell.
Well, you know what? It is touchdown town there. So you got to keep the guys coming in.
I look forward to our first round or second round playoff game against the Massillon Tigers and staring right across to the Feaster brothers. Can't wait.
I can't wait for those Hoban boys that are.
As we wonder why they're foaming at the mouth.
They're both going to be Buckeyes they're Buckeye targets anyways, I should say. Yeah. I'm talking about the Hoban kids that just transferred there, and Ryan Day would love to have their signatures for sure right away. Speaking of football, you're going to be indoctrinated with AC every halftime here this fall.
I can't wait. AC, I'm a big AC fan. He's getting things lined up for the Lobo. Graduating as a polar bear.
He dates Klondike.
That's fair.
That's her name.
Okay. He got an award. I couldn't read the plaque, but he got an award.
DC shared it.
Yeah. So proud. I'm proud of that guy.
He's a good boy.
he's something else, and he's one of Ashland's finest, and I always love seeing him during the summer, and I think he'll be a great addition to the. He's going to do sideline.
He's
right?
going to do sidelines.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick upstairs with Tony.
Yeah, that'll be special. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Lobo, I'm organizing the polos, the team polos, and we've got the Incredible Hulk, and none of these college kids are willing to pay for anything, so I've got to inherit this. We've got Tom Hanks there with the.
T-Bone might have some revenue sharing money. He could buy those.
I told T-Bone, but he's been quiet on this. The only one that's commented on all these
Where's
shirts.
Waldo?
Yeah, where's Waldo? There's the General Lee. I'm a big fan of that polo.
Might be. And you guys come rolling in first heat.
Yeah. Well, we'll get AC to get the mega horn. There's a Tux. That's my favorite. Augusta National.
That is special.
That's a polo.
Yeah.
So we might. You never know what's going to happen. We just gotta make sure the high handicapper can find the center of the club face, and if that can happen, we got a chance to be dangerous. But if I can't find the center of the club face, which happens often, it'll be a difficult.
I know what club you find the center of the club face of, and that's the putter.
That's right.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. If I can roll it, boy, the field's in trouble.
Yep.
Getting some pops on holes. So.
Yep.
You want to hang around, or you got to go?
I'm going to go to the track meet.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thanks for coming
Guys,
on. Really
thanks
appreciate
so much
the
for
time.
all you do, and appreciate how much you cover this and how wonderfully you do it. So go Arrows.
Appreciate you.
All right, Steve Paramore, Superintendent of Ashland City Schools, with us. Appreciate all the time and discussion and commentary, Chris. And right now it's 18-6 after a 2-run single by Trey Fricky.
Well, sorry for the viewers out there, and sorry to you too, David. I know
I'll be all right.
You're up here to call the game, but as you know, we try to do this with every broadcast and have some member of the community or the school or something on, and we had 2 today for a very special reason, and it's because of all the rainouts, guys. We've had so many of these. There's a ground ball hit to Hag. He's going to go across the diamond and get the out recorded. So Tigers are retired, but Ben Spieldinner on, and then Steve, I tried to have him on, I'm not kidding, 4 times to give an update here with what's going on. And that's what we try to do here on the Broadcasting Network, is not only talk about the contest that's going on and highlight the kids and the other members of the other team and whatnot, but it's also to give the families inside the community a chance to hear from past Arrows, current Arrows, the administration about what's going on inside the district. And you heard from the curriculum director today about talking about his role and his life experience so far and what he's passionate about. And you obviously you hear from Steve Paramore quite a bit, but you just get a chance to learn what's going on inside the district. And I think it's really special, and it's super, super, super important. So anyways, they had the baseball game on still on TV here, but the commentary was more about learning about Ashland City Schools as a whole today.
Yeah, well, it's a forum for those guys to get some of their information out and some of the things that are going on and of interest to the citizens. So great to have those guys, and for Steve to stop by the booth. He was looking sharp today.
Always.
So we've got an 18-6 ball game, and it boils down to this. The Arrows will need at least 3 to keep this thing going, and Jackson Henry goes back to the mound in his first start, and he'll be facing Brayton Stewart, Carson Little, and Jackson Kinney. Those are the scheduled hitters due up for the Arrows. So Henry has given up 6, but his offense has backed him up considerably. Of course, you go back to that 10-run 3rd inning, which was that was the real backbreaker for the Arrows this afternoon. Tough to come back from that. 10 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors that inning for Galion, and so they hold a 12-run lead. Here comes Brayton Stewart. Has a couple of RBIs in the ball game, 1 for 2.
Looking at your score sheet, David, there's only 1 inning that, the Arrows kind of blanked him. But you think about 18 runs on the board. In the first, 3 men left on base. This is for the Tigers. In the second, 3 men left on base. In the third, 2 men left on base. And then the last 2 innings, a runner apiece. It's pretty amazing how much traffic has been on the base paths, let alone the 18 men who have come across the plate.
Yeah, they've left 10. And Brayton Stewart leads it off with a single into left. And so the Arrows get the leadoff batter on, and here comes Carson Little for his first at-bat. He came on to replace Trenton Summers at first. Little hitting .222, no home runs, and 10 runs batted in. Pitched on Wednesday. Did not see an AB. And I think they just allowed Stewart to take second. So he steals second before the pitch is even thrown to Little. A wave and a miss, unless I missed a balk call or something, but I think he just jogged on down there with catcher's indifference. 18-6 Galion. That's a chopper foul by Carson Little. Jackson Kenny on deck. And we might have a pinch hitter
Hubacher
loaded up. Looks like Liam Hubacher. It'll be good to see him come back into the lineup.
Dealing with a little bit of a knee, I think,
Yeah.
a lower extremity. He's kind of bugging him still.
Heard a mid-season injury on a stolen base. High and tight there to Carson Little. Again, those high and tight pitches brought to you by 419 Barbershop.
That one can't get any closer,
No.
high and tight. That was just about on the chin.
I gave him a shave. 1-2. There's strike. 3 call inside corner. Little did not agree with that one. Jackson Kinney to the plate. Pardon me, the aforementioned Liam Hubacher to the plate, hitting .400 on the season. Been limited the last few weeks after hurting that knee. They thought it was more serious at the time, so it's great to see him coming back in and getting a live at-bat here in this ball game.
That was against Worcester, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. That one is outside. Gets away from Maine, the catcher. And Stewart moves down to third base on the wild pitch. Well, a tune-up game here for the Arrows, so the result really isn't going to be all that consequential. It's not a conference game. They just had a cancellation with Norwalk. And instead of just staying idle, AJ got a game on the schedule.
And David, that cancellation happened. We've been talking about rain.
Yeah, they had to make up some conference games.
Yeah, it's appropriate. Norwalk, the Truckers, had to get a conference game in. So what happens? You just bail on your non-league games. So I want to recognize parents. They don't know this. The community doesn't know this. Whatever. People just don't know how hard a baseball coach or a softball coach works to try to find games. They have no idea. I can tell you, AJ tried to find a baseball game. He sent 60 emails to coaches within the District 9 school districts trying to find a baseball game to make up. Now, ask yourself before you question if we get enough games in, would you personally send 60 emails to coaches trying to get one baseball game made up? I give him a hat tip. I give him kudos, and it talks to the character and whatnot that Steve Paramore talked about, Ben Spieldinner talked about. These are the coaches we have, and they're trying to do right by all these kids and get as many contests that they can for the players and whatnot. So I respect that as a community member, AJ trying to do that, and I know it's no different with the softball coach. And you're outside in a weather-driven sport, right? And it's easy to set back, and I've watched it. It's rained out, whatever. And don't try to get a makeup game in, and AJ's done that. So I really, really, really appreciate that.
Runner goes from first. That one is socked through the middle. That's a base hit and an RBI for Nick Mangus. And it gets away from Prosser, the center fielder, and so the Arrows will keep running. Second and third with one out. Give Mangus the RBI, his 5th of the year. There's Jake Bryant.
That was a bullet right back up
Sure
the middle.
was.
David found the barrel of that one, hit the center of the baseball. Nice job.
Error on the center fielder, letting that get by. Well, Jake Bryant will be the hitter. And runners are at second and third as the Arrows try to pull back to within 10 to avoid a run rule situation. Galion 2 outs away from ending this one early. Jake Bryant 1 for 2 in the ball game.
Yeah, getting on 30 West and heading home.
It's a called strike. No balls, 2 strikes. I think that ball came in and grazed Jake, or at least hit his uniform, but he's crowding the plate, and home plate umpire Jeff Burton said it was a strike, so it didn't matter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That one is outside. Hubacher is over at third. Mangus at second.
We have 2 men arguing the point there. One of them's wrong, one of them's right. We're going to have to dive into there and see what's just right and wrong.
Ground ball to shortstop. Throw across from Hay is in time. Bryant grounds out, but it drives in a run. He picks up his 7th RBI. Hubacher comes in to score, and that makes it an 18-8 ball game.
Getting close, David. Need that one more digit. Standing on third base.
Mangus over at third base, and the batter is Jeff Hickey. Henry gets a strike over.
Jeez.
18-8. Well, unless the schedule has changed, the Arrows do have a game tomorrow at Madison.
Yes, correct. And
makeup
game, last league makeup game.
And then Tuesday at Hillsdale, and that would be the final tune-up game before the Thursday tournament opener against Salina.
And we'll be here for that game.
We sure will. Chopped foul, 2 strikes on Hickey, and Galion 1 strike away.
And if you're scoring at home, that's the sectional final that'll be contested here between Ashland and Salina.
Well, that's coming up Thursday night.
Well, if I got to get 1 run in with an 0-2 count, 2 outs, and somebody at the plate, Jeff Hickey's my guy.
They took a good cut there on a fastball, fouled it back. Still 0-2.
You know, you think back and, you know, the Arrows started the season off really hot, right? And we got out to a really good, start. And it's just the injury bug caught up, and there's Hickey strikes out. That'll end the ball game. But that made it really tough. I'm going to talk about that with A.J. Beer here in the postgame. But, David, go ahead and give us a recap.
Well, in the 5th inning, the Arrows do rally for a couple of runs there, Chris, but 2 hits, 1 error. And they left a man at third base. And that is your final score of 18-8. The Arrows. I'll get you the final totals here momentarily. It looks like the Arrows left 5 in the ball game. So Galion 18 runs, 17 hits, 5 errors. They left 10. Ashland 8 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors, and they left 5. Jackson Henry, the winning pitcher, picks up his first win of the season. Losing pitcher is Carter Nelson. He suffers his first loss to go to 0-1. Was a 2-hour ball game right on the button. And the updated records now, Ashland drops to 8-10. Galion to 14 and make it 15-8 on the season. Our Janny postgame show is coming right up. We hope you'll stay tuned for that. We'll chat with A.J. Beer and have a final word about the upcoming schedule for the Arrows and the tournament opener next week. You're watching coverage of Arrows baseball on the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network.
Simonson Construction is proud to sponsor Arrows Athletics, the most trusted and efficient construction company in the region. With a long history of doing things the right way from concept to completion, Simonson Construction solves all your construction needs for commercial and public projects. A truly local company providing award-winning comprehensive design-build services since 1974. For more information, scan the QR code or go to simonsonconstruction.com. Come visit the South Street Grill in downtown Ashland, the official watch location every Friday night during the Arrows football season. You can catch all the action in the bar area on the big screens. Elevated casual dining in downtown Ashland, steaks, seafood, hand-patted burgers, vegetarian options, salads, and a huge kids menu. Something for everyone in a completely renovated, historic building. South Street Grill, your home for Arrows football.
Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network, presented by Sarver Paving. Your presentation will begin shortly. Welcome to the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network, presented by Sarver Paving. Your presentation will begin shortly. Welcome to the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network, presented by Sarver Paving.
Well, welcome back to Bud Plank Field, Archer Arrows Park here at Ashland High School. Our Arrows postgame show and interviews brought to you by Janney and Mansfield, financial advice from experienced people you can trust. Check out Rich Story at janney.com for all of your financial needs. That's Janney, JANNEY.com. Our postgame stat recap brought to you by your hometown law leader, the law offices of Andrew Bush, located right here in Ashland. Again, it was 18 runs, 17 hits, 5 errors, 10 left on for Galion. Ashland, 8 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. They left 5. The game's shortened to 5 innings with the mercy rule in effect. Jackson Henry is our winning pitcher, courtesy of Connery Manufacturing, your wastewater equipment leader, locally owned for over 40 years. Henry goes to 1-0. Carter Nelson suffers the loss. And the Ashland Arrows are now 8-10 overall. They remain 5-8 in league play. We'll be talking with A.J. Beer momentarily here to get some thoughts on the upcoming weekend and games next week, including the tourney opener, which is Thursday against Salina, the number 4 seed. Ashland will have the number 4 seed in the Northwest 2 sectional and district. A.J. Beer donning the headset. He's ready with Chris.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for being here.
It's not the easiest to come on and do these after a game like that, right? I mean,
No,
it's
no.
not.
It's not.
And you feel, I know how you feel. I've been on that in that seat before. What's the message to the kids?
Well, we have a core value called win the next pitch. So that's kind of our message tonight. We have to get, we kind of have to learn how we can piece it all together. Whether we're pitching strikes and playing clean defense, we got to piece that together. Tonight, we started throwing strikes. Credit to them, they're hitting the baseball. Okay, they hit the out of baseball, right? But we let one inning slip from us. Okay, that kind of put us down. What I'm proud of our guys tonight was the fight that they had. Okay, still barreling up some baseballs. Okay, trying to get back into the game, trying to scratch into it. But the message is to win the next pitch.
So, I mean, look, let's be honest. I'm not an excuse guy. You know that about me, but I'm also a realist. And I know that you've had to deal with some injuries this year that you didn't plan on dealing with a year ago this time, 6 months ago this time. Do you look at having to play some of the younger guys that you may not have had to play this early in some key spots on the mound, in some premium position hitting locations in the lineup, as helping you build towards the future and taking some good out of what was a tough situation?
Yeah. I mean, and some of those guys are really stepping up for us. Some of those sophomores, and a lot of our sophomores are learning too, right? Some of them, like Walker, he's played some JV baseball for us this year, but he's coming up. He's trying to learn how to play some varsity baseball, and tonight he didn't throw a lot of strikes, right? Struggled a little bit, and when he did throw strikes, they got on him, right? And all we can ask is for them to throw strikes.
That's it.
And we are trying to build for that future, but at the same time, we're trying to win games now and try to get ourselves in a good spot and try to be better. But to answer your question, yeah, we needed to rely on a lot of youth this year, and still do, and that's good for the future. But at the same time, it can be a learning process.
I want to highlight one kid, and I said it when Paramore was up here, and I said it in the open with David when Ethan Hegg come to the bat in the first inning. I said, if this kid isn't the first team OCC starting shortstop, one, I will have to question what people look at. Two, I got to question the politics that go into naming this. And three, we should just abolish all OCC awards, because that's the best shortstop in the OCC, bar none. You can at me if you want. You can debate me if you want. I'm here for it. That kid is a player.
He's special. Ethan, and what I like about Ethan is very nice kid, very nice family, but he is a technician. Chris, I'm telling you, we could have guys waiting to get in the cage, and he's not in line. He's hitting off a tee. He's trying to fix some things. If he doesn't get on base, he's trying to find a way how to get on base. He could barrel a ball, line out to second base, and that's not good enough. He's a technician, and he works hard. He works at it, and he's just a quiet, reserved. He goes at it. He comes to work every day with his lunchbox in his hand and his hard hat on. He's special.
They say, AJ, that leadership doesn't know age. And they say that some leaders lead by their mouth. I find those people usually aren't leaders. And they find some people lead by example. Some people lead by doing it the right way. And I'll repeat myself with the opening statement. Leadership knows no age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been a quiet leader for us, and he leads our team in batting average,
on base percentage,
and he's just
hits.
He's a technician. We are blessed to have him for another 2 seasons. Obviously blessed to have him to finish out this year. And like I told the guys tonight, we're playing at Hillsdale next week, and we have Madison tomorrow in the conference finale, and we have a tournament game against Salina, who's a good team. From what I've researched and what I've seen, they're a good team. They got a kid that can throw in the upper 80s, so that's going to be a battle for us, and we just got to piece it together. We look good for a little bit, and then there's innings where we look like we need to go back to February 23rd and start breaking down some things.
Yeah, it happens. You said the right thing. I mean, I've said this to you many times. The only thing you can't defend is a walk, which if they're going to barrel up the ball like they did in the first and second inning, look, the third inning got away from you. I mean, that just compounded. But the first and second inning, they're just hitting lasers.
Right.
And that's the game.
And that is the game, and that's why I tried to tell Carter, too, because, he's in that sophomore group. He's had to come up, a little earlier than I think we anticipated. He's had to play the hot corner. He's thrown some innings. And, both Walker and Carter, both, I've been wanting to throw them more, but we've had so much dang rain,
that's
right,
awful,
that we can't get them the opportunities that they need. And when they do get the opportunities, sometimes you feel bad for them because, you get a good team like this. And I told our guys, tonight, I don't like to schedule any gimme per se. I want somebody that comes in and challenges us to make us better. And, we got our butts handed to us tonight, didn't play to our standard, but I can tell you we learned quite a bit about us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the rain, and this is, as you know, this is a third game I've done. Like, it's crazy, between some traveling, but all the rain. Like, Paramore and I were going to do 3 games together, and then Camden and I and Truax and I, it just not a single one of them happened because of rain. It's just wild. But I said this on air. When you watch this one back, you'll hear me say it, but I'm going to say it so you're sitting right here. It's for all the community, all the parents, and everyone involved. And I said, I take my hat off to you because all those people I just mentioned don't have the communication that you and I do. And you sent 60 emails in one night trying to get a baseball game rescheduled. No one knows that. Well, they do now. And that's the level of appreciation I have, and I think that's awesome. And I hope that the entire community takes appreciation of that. I hope the parent group takes appreciation, the players take appreciation of that. I had Ben Spieldinner on here today, and I had Steve Paramore on here today. Talked quite a bit. All talked about culture. We talked about character. We talked about discipline, all these other things that go into it. And you're exemplifying that, leading these guys. So as a community member, I'm proud of you and I'm appreciative.
Well, I appreciate that, Chris. I do. It's something I love to do. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about, and the stuff that we kind of have to go through as coaches. And I'll be the first to admit I've made mistakes this year, and I'll be the first to admit
you'll make them next year too. That's what happens. That's life.
I'm learning as we go here, and Coach Dew and I are kind of playing the cards that were dealt. And I feel with every decision we've made, we stand by, and we don't have that, hey, in hindsight type of thing. So we're learning just as much, but I appreciate, hearing that. It's refreshing to hear that. So thank you.
All right, let's talk about the tourney. We'll end on a good note. The tourney, you got Salina coming in here. You highlighted you got your last OCC game tomorrow at Madison. You've got Hillsdale on Tuesday, but let's look ahead of the tourney. What's it going to take? What are you thinking? Who's going to be on the hill for you guys?
Yeah, so we're going to have Evan on the bump, and he's been every outing he's had here lately he's been more efficient, and he's looked more what I call more like Evan that I saw a couple years ago in the summertime, which is good. He's been doing really well for us and throwing a lot of strikes, and he's doing exactly everything that we've been asking him to do. We just haven't had the production behind him and the run support behind him. So looking at that, we're confident with Evan. We need to be confident with our bat. We're going to see, from everything I've researched, the kid he's in the upper 80s, maybe touching the 9. So, we got to have good approach, okay? And like I said, you hinted at culture. We got to go back to our core values, right? Win the next pitch, be good teammates. We got to, just do the little things right. We do the little things right. I think we can get through our district. And that's if we play to our standard every night. We got to go one game at a time. Salina's the first one. And, I'm confident in our guys.
Congratulations. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
All right, buddy.
I'll say one last thing here. David's been here a few times, and we've been winning.
I know it's coming.
We've been winning, but
I told you I got the BW medicine, man. Like it's been injected in me or something.
Just saying, David's been here doing it solo, and we've looked all right.
Well, I can retire.
But I appreciate both of you. Appreciate both of you.
Good. Yep, you got it.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. You take one like this every once in a while in the game of baseball. You flush it and get ready for the next game, which is tomorrow for the Arrows against the Madison Rams. And as AJ mentioned, one final game against Hillsdale on Tuesday. And then we'll have our next broadcast on Thursday against Salina. That'll be a D3 tournament matchup.
Yeah, hey, you win some, you lose some. You win big some games, you lose big some games. That's sports. And I don't care if it's track and field or baseball or football. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just some days it's not your day. Sometimes the other team's better. And they were better today in every facet, whether it was pitching the baseball, hitting the baseball, running the baseball, whatever. It didn't matter. They were the better team today. AJ Beer is absolutely right. It's time to look in the mirror and say, hey, that wasn't very good. We got a chance to cleanse it tomorrow. That's the great thing about baseball and softball, David, is you don't have to wait 7 days. If you get beat on a Friday night, you have to taste that 28-6 loss or whatever. You get a chance to go make up for it and atone for it tomorrow, and we'll see if the Arrows can do just that.
All right, we'll see you next Thursday here, partner.
You got it.
All right, special thanks to Brandon Gunder at the controls. A job well done. For Chris Mowry, David Wilson saying goodbye from Archer Arrows Park, Bud Plank Field on a beautiful Friday afternoon. It was Galion over Ashland today by a score of 18-8. We'll be back here next Thursday night to open up tournament play as the Arrows will host Salina. This has been a presentation of the Ashland City Schools and the Ashland Arrows Broadcasting Network presented by Sarver Paving.